You know what? I'm just gonna open with this music because I like this music. So, hello everybody. Hello everybody. If you haven't been around, if you haven't known or heard, if you're not on Twitter, or if you missed my very rare Yume Nikki streams that happen only when I am stuck in my house. Well, here's the lowdown. I caught COVID. Don't worry. I was literally fine the entire time. Like, I've had colds worse. Most colds I've had have been worse than what I experienced. This was my second time catching it. The first time sucked major ass. That was last year. This time, I was literally fine. The worst part about it was I was stuck in my apartment. The office that I stream from is a shared space, so I could not come to it, and that is why I couldn't stream from my desktop with my usual setup, and that is the explanation. So, I was going to stream Subnautica this weekend, but I'm not doing that because I want to finish Higurashi with my friend Cal, like we were supposed to last weekend. And I also want to finish Silent Hill 4, which I think it's very ironic that I ended up playing Silent Hill 4 and then catching COVID. Because that's the stuck in apartment. That's the stuck in apartment game. Yeah, pet that moon pie. Pet that moon pie. But yeah, fucking don't catch COVID. Wear a mask in crowded places. Don't be stupid. Did I hear about Gex? Of course I heard about Gex. Do you know how many people DM'd me? I saw it before anybody DM'd me. But so many people were like, Spoony, did you hear about your husband? Don't catch COVID or you'll catch these hands. Listen, the thing that's scary and sucks about COVID. Let me switch over. The thing that is scary and sucks about COVID is, like, it can, like, be completely fine. Like, the symptoms for you can be completely fine, and it doesn't even fucking matter. Thank you for the follow. It doesn't even matter. Like, if somebody else catches it, like, they could have it way worse, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Good lord. Good lord. That's what's so scary about it. Also, it is incredibly contagious because I was wearing a mask. I was wearing a mask and I was being careful around Case, who also had it and who I definitely caught it from. Nope. I got it from breathing near them. In the same area as them. Stupid. Stupid. Anyway, my model is slightly updated thanks to Casey, aka Riki. Riki heart stitched in the chat. There you go. There it is. There's the link. Feeling better? Hang on, let me switch back over here. Yes, I feel better. That's why I'm streaming. Not to be rude. I wouldn't be streaming as a VTubing cat if I didn't feel better. But yeah, I appreciate the well wishes, everybody. But listen. Oh, I'm fine. Do you hear any nastiness in my voice? I hope not. I hope not. Even triple stabbed, I caught COVID one time and was bedridden for like a week. Yeah, I had this moment when I first caught it where I was like, shit, man, if I didn't get vaccinated, I'd be dead. And that's scary to think about, right? Anyway. Hey Cal, do you want to join? Would you like to join? I will undeafen. Nice disclaimer. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And you weren't like, oh, Spoony being rude. Anyway. Hello. Welcome to my stream. What in the fuck was that? Are you okay? Oh shit! Rogue Spike. Thank you for the...
Beans.
Beans. Thank you for the beans. Also, sound alerts are back on. Red acted. Hello. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Hello, Cal.
It's me.
It's you, Soup. Would you like to reintroduce yourself?
I am Lightning McQueen from Cars.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Can't
Just
believe
kidding.
it. Big fan. Can I get your autograph or can you sign things?
I don't have hands as a car.
Oh, shit. I forgot to mention my stupid thing up in the corner, the Scrungle Farm Fund. This is... Everybody's so excited about Soup. So you're probably wondering, what the fuck does that mean? So last COVID stream I had while I still had COVID, and I was bored as fuck. This was the thing. I was like, if you donate $5, you can name an animal on my farm. And the farm was named the Scrungle Farm, thanks to Case. So now it's just going to be a thing during my main stream. If you donate $5 or more, you can name a Scrungle. 8 characters only, maximum. 8 characters maximum, so you gotta be creative. I'm sorry. But, that is now going to be a thing, and however many animals are donated for during the stream, well, I'm going to play farming after the main stream, and I'm going to get those animals and I'm going to name them until I'm out of the names. So yeah, that is the new thing. I'm going to drink some more coffee.
While you do that, I'm actually going to introduce myself for real.
All right.
Hello, everybody. My name is Cal. I'm not as high energy as I usually am because I've been fucking tired all day. He, him pronouns. I'm not actually Lightning McQueen. I'm sorry to deceive you.
How dare you?
I know. I'm evil. But today we're gonna higu all over these Rashis.
We're gonna higu all over these fucking Rashis. This is gonna be most likely the finale to Higurashi
Probably.
Chapter 1. So if you need catching up,
what are you buying?
Watch the VODs.
Oh shit. Oh my god, Gracie Gal wants to name a Scrungle Foyer.
Boyer?
Foyer.
Oh, Foyer. It's pronounced Foyer.
It's pronounced Foyer. Well,
I need to get back into my Officer Tasty voice. It's been a few weeks.
I'm probably gonna name my hoist.
Your
Foyer. Don't foyer me. All right, so we're definitely gonna see the Scrungle Farm after stream today. Woohoo! Thank you, Gracie.
Woo!
Woohoo! That's gonna be fun. Foyer. Yeah. My hoist. My hoist foyer. I'm gonna say foyer. I'm gonna say hoist every time. Gracie, what color horse do you want?
The foyer should be blue, considering
You can't.
it's blue in there.
You can't make the horse blue.
What the fuck's the point then? Why
you
are
can
we
make
living?
it brown, black, or white. I'm pretty sure.
Normal horse colors?
Yeah.
Boring. Anyway, we're reading tips.
Brown, black, or white. Oh, brown. All right, cool. I'll keep that in mind, just in case you're not here by the end of stream. I can be the reporter.
You can be the reporter.
I see it in movies quite often. But what is it exactly?
Multiple personalities are thought to be escapism.
Multiple personality disorder is a form of escape?
From the city, correct. The exact mechanism is not fully understood, but it's believed to be a type of defense for the brain to retain mental stability.
Chris's blood.
Bars.
There's no blood. Hope this is not Chris's blood.
Oh, this is not Chris's reporter, I guess.
Oh my god. Hypothetically, poor people imagining themselves as wealthy is a form of escapism, is it not? Is this also a form of multiple personality disorder? No.
No, that's not.
No.
I wouldn't go that far, but broadly speaking, one could infer that. It's something that occurs in us all. That's not true.
Does a split personality occur when one cannot tell which is reality and which is the escape?
That's difficult to say. There are some who agree with that and some who disagree. There's no consensus.
Then is the occurrence of multiple personalities still an unknown phenomenon? Something not fully comprehended in the psychiatric field?
Unfortunately, that is the current state of things. We can only put our hope in future research.
But it's sort of cool having a split personality. Okay, dude. What kind of people get split personalities?
Recent studies find that those who develop it, or rather those who are more susceptible to developing it, may be genetically predisposed, or may have abnormal mental development. Asterisk to all of this, this was the science of it as of 2002.
Yeah, no, I was about to, like, say that as well and be like, hey, just so you know, this game is old.
This is absolutely not the science these days.
Yeah, it's accurate. Like, these were the studies from that time period. So, apologies if this is like, oh, what the fuck, this is offensive. No, listen.
Major asterisks.
Yeah. Anyway, that's you.
Some say that childhood abuse increases the chances. That's true.
That is true, yeah. Speaking of which, person A here experienced abuse as a child, didn't he? How sad. Why are the little squiggly?
Be normal.
How sad. Person A has 7 different personalities. Let's watch a video of him. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Right after these commercials. That's silly. Okay, so we got some.
Anyway,
we got some split personality. Okay, I want some clarification. I've been told before that calling it multiple personality disorder is considered somewhat offensive nowadays, or at least inaccurate, and it's more preferable to call it DID, dissociative identity disorder. Is that like still the case, or is that like?
Is that a question to me or to the chat?
To the chat and also you.
I wouldn't personally say it's offensive. It's medically inaccurate.
Medically inaccurate. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, are they gonna cry? They sure are, Corgi.
Oh, are they gonna cry? At the 7th mark.
What is the Katie gonna cry? Gonna piss your pants?
Oh. Wait, what? 7 different personalities? What is this? Killer 7? Oh my god. I should play that. I want to play that so bad. Anyway. The 7th mart was a bargain supermarket with food and alcohol.
What's this, Keiji? So many. There's no reason to get all the different kinds, is there?
I flopped all the different colored cup noodles into the cart. Cup noodles have gotten so elaborate recently, and there are a bunch of different types. I want to try each one of them at least once. I knew it was pretty selfish of me, but I thought I'd at least give it a try.
Keiichi, buy them in the big case. It's cheaper.
Dad faltered. Well, I had a feeling it'd end up like this. Now that Dad had thrown his hat into the ring, I'd have to compromise. Then I'd only get to eat one kind. I'd get bored with it. I was resisting as a formality. I had already given up inside and wasn't sure which case of noodles to get.
This also, by the way, for the chat and also for you, because it's been a couple weeks, this comes off the back of Rena visiting us in the night and indicating that she was there for this.
Yeah.
She was watching this entire thing.
Yeah, I remember that. Fucked up.
If you can't pick, then Mommy will pick for you.
You don't have to rush me. I quickly searched the cases of noodles for what I want.
Pork, bone, and ginger, large cup. Hey, Keiichi, can't you get a more normal one?
If I let Mom pick, she'd err on the side of safety and get soy sauce or salt flavored. What do you mean safety?
Just salt flavored noodles? That's so bland.
So when I plonked a large box of pork bone flavor in the shopping cart, Mom looked back at me with an expression as if to say, "These ones?"
Oh, Zara Cut's playing Fallout 76. Wonderful.
Beautiful. To show her this was the last compromise, I began explaining the choice. Pork bone is good. You get a large serving, but the flavor isn't too strong. I remembered insisting that the noodles I picked were the right kind. Uh-oh. In this frozen memory in time, this encapsulated world, I didn't have the power to look around my surroundings. So I did what I could and reached out with my hearing and vision, sharpening my senses to find the presence I overlooked. No matter how much I searched through my field of vision, I couldn't see Rena. I rewound the situation, searching, but of course, I couldn't find her. Then, was she spying at me from my blind spot? I go through the sound and presences again, looking. I can sense the other customers. They were all mixed about, moving as they please. There was nobody looking over this way and no one trying to get behind me. Not here. Couldn't be here. Probably wasn't here. I would definitely notice if someone was right behind me, even when I wasn't on my guard. I smiled wryly at the thought of using a vague word like probably right before contradicting it with definitely. Then I paused my mental replay as a chill ran down my spine. There was definitely a presence like a shadow behind me. That was a terror unlike any other. If a presence really had manifested behind me, I would definitely have turned around to check for it. But the world had moved on, and there was no way for me to turn around. While carrying that frightening shadow on my back, I was gleefully running around the store searching for a case of noodles. Running through the instant noodle section, bad-mouthing my mom, but there was that presence constantly at my back, sticking to me like a shadow. No way to see what it was. Realizing it now after the fact was horrifying and repulsive. In that moment of time, I was running around gleefully, carrying that cardboard box, tip-tap. But listening to that moment again, I could hear footsteps other than mine going pit-pat with every step. Tip-tap, tip-tap, tip-tap. Pit-pat, pit-pat, pit-pat. Tip-tap, tip-tap, pit-pat, pit-pat. Tip-tap, tip-tap. While I was running, the sound of those barefoot footsteps going pit-pat were right behind me. Me running around gleefully in that closed-off moment in time. But I didn't hear it. No, I heard it. That's why I remembered it. I didn't think I had heard anything. That's why I didn't turn around. That is why I didn't turn around. In that moment, the pit-pat of those footsteps were following me the entire time. I couldn't run faster and escape. I couldn't run any faster than I had ran at that time. I couldn't turn around. I hadn't turned around before, not once. Then I returned to my parents and started talking. The shadow-like presence was right at my back. Since I didn't move, the shadow didn't move. That is why it made no sound. That was all. At that time, I hadn't taken a single step while talking with my parents. I was just standing there. This was undeniable. And yet, I heard it. That was like a forced pause. That was really good. A pit-pat. That shouldn't be. If I took 3 steps, it followed 3 steps. Wasn't that the rule? There was no sound other than that. At that time, the entire world had gone dark, a sudden darkness. It was the end of my reflective journey. I was tired. I wanted to end it. Someone turn on the light. Except my body couldn't move, as if I was sewn into that moment in time. Pit-pat. My past self's hair stood on end. That's impossible. Now that's just breaking the rules. I haven't moved. So you shouldn't be moving either. I couldn't move. So you shouldn't be able to move either. Follow the rules. Pit-pat. Yet that sound echoed in the darkness once again. The hair on the back of my neck pricked up on end. It was so close that it was hard to tell whether it was touching the hair or not. Why couldn't I move? Like how the presence was moving behind me. I quickly realized I could move. Just that I was scared and didn't want to. But now was the only time I could turn around. It was something unforgivable in this moment in time, but I needed to turn around immediately. As if my entire being was trying to force me to stop, it began to administer a pain like a needle being stuck into my every pore. I'll turn around. I'll turn around. I'm not scared at all. I'll turn around. I'll turn around. I'm not scared at all. A scream was unable to vocalize. Sorry. I turned around. At first, I couldn't understand the meaning of it. What? What is this? Just as a person's mouth might bite into an apple, slurp the juices, and finally discover that it was an apple, my mind began to process the scene before my eyes by eating the apple. Munch, munch, chew, chew. Slurp the juices and discover the apple. What a sentence that is. Meaning, what was in front of me was... What was it?
Glad to see that Keiichi's having a normal one. Very mentally well, I think.
I think we know what the raid phrase is gonna be. Tip tap pit pat.
Yeah.
Pip pap. We wanna know, we gotta keep going, we gotta go.
We gotta go through at the speed of sound.
Oh. Let me drink some water.
No.
No. I got into it.
You did, it was great.
I like reading scary shit out loud. It's fun. Even though I make stupid noises for the onomatopoeia. But anyway. I guess I'd be lying if I said I didn't get any sleep. I tried to stay awake all night, but there was definitely gaps in my memory. Oh, that ain't good. I guess I kept nodding off and jerking awake in a panic at night. Stibby is playing Street Fighter 6 now, everybody. Calling him out.
Everybody on the goddamn planet except for me is playing that game. I feel like.
I know a lot of people who play fighting games. I spent all night hugging the metal bat and sat on top of the futon I used to barricade my door. Watching, just in case someone tried to break in through my window. If I left this spot, someone would break through the door, sending the futon flying and attack me. But if I stopped watching the window, someone would break through the glass and attack me. I tried telling myself I was just being paranoid, but I couldn't sleep. The thought of being so vulnerable scared the living daylights out of me. If sleep meant taking that risk, I didn't need it. It was so much better to just stay awake. At some point during that endless cycle of nodding off and jolting awake, light began to shine outside, but that was it. It wasn't so much the morning as it was just the sun simply having risen. I snuck a peek out through the curtains. Rena was gone. I couldn't see her anywhere, no matter how hard I looked. Finally, I could breathe a deep sigh of relief. The night was finally over. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tired, but I didn't feel like sleeping at the moment. I still had time. But I needed to make my own breakfast, so I'd better get started soon. Skipping school was also an option. With my mom gone, it'd be easy to play hooky. Honestly, I debated it. The risk involved in leaving my house was incalculable. So staying holed up in here was probably my safest option. But staying here wouldn't solve anything. Oh, Tasty-san. Tasty-san wouldn't help me without cold, hard evidence. Neither he nor my parents. So unless I found some sort of proof, these relentless nights would never end. I stretched my body, tilted my head back, and closed my eyes just like I did every morning. I regulated my breathing and regained my senses. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. Let's go to school. Let's wait until they set their trap for me. But that didn't mean I was just going to twiddle my thumbs. I needed to avoid that trap and secure irrefutable evidence. Take note of the plates of any car that drives by. If I see someone suspicious, check their clothes and face. I wasn't just protecting myself, I was preparing myself to turn their attack against them and retaliate. The tension was similar to when two samurai were both aiming to slay each other with a single motion as they drew their katanas. I was not at a disadvantage. I would have a chance to retaliate. I finally felt a bit of courage growing in my chest. All right, let's go to school. I tightened my grip on Satoshi's bat. He was the only partner I could count on. Satoshi, please lend me your strength. And entrust your dying regrets to me, since you were probably murdered. I'll make sure I dispel them. With renewed resolve, I checked the clock. It was still early. Of course, I was going to school by myself today. If I didn't want to run into Rena or Mion, I needed to leave now. Oh my god, Sketch has no idea what's going on. How do we... There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. It'd be really hard to catch you up now.
Very, very, very quick thing. Basically, there is an alleged curse over this town, and after this festival every year, one person dies mysteriously, and also one person gets demoned away, which is kind of like a version of spirited away. And so there's a detective who's trying to figure this out with us, and basically all of your school friends are seem to be directly involved with a lot of these disappearances and murders, but there is no actual evidence, and they are continuously doing shit that is terrifying and suggesting that they are stalking you and also fucking trying to kill you. So
Very
cool shit.
paranoia-inducing stuff.
Oh yeah. So basically that's the shortest summation I could give to you. So now you're all caught up. Anyway, the shattered fragments of the cupboard were still strewn all over the entryway. Right. I meant to clean that up last night, but never got around to it with the phone call and everything. If my parents came back and saw this while I was at school, I would never hear the end of it. Still, I'd be wasting time if I cleaned it up right now. And considering what would happen if I ran into Rena or Mion, it wouldn't be too late to clean it up after I got back home. Making extra certain that the doors were locked, I left the house. You're welcome. I just really needed to do that for anybody who was lost. Especially since it's been a while. So even people who have been watching. Anyway. My uniform was still covered in mud from yesterday, so I left it in the washer. Today I was going to go to school in a tracksuit. By wearing a different outfit this morning, my mind was forced to accept that today was different from yesterday. I had a hunch. Today might be the day I get killed. Keep your guard up, Keiichi Maibara. The only one who gets to decide if today is my last is me. Keiichi not fucking around. Oh yeah, crushing the hand in the door was the last thing that we experienced during last stream.
Yeah. And then I wasn't available for a week, and then Spoony got COVID.
Yep. Oh, that's right. It's been 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks because the first week I was in an area where I didn't really have good access to my computer and internet.
It's all good.
Then the week after that, you got COVID. So.
I sure did. Yep. I spent the morning practicing my swing like it was my natural routine. After a while, Rena arrived at school. Our eyes met, but we said nothing. Rena said nothing about last night, as if it never happened. But I could see that those events were real by the wounds carved into her fingers. I just heard her telling Satoko and the others that the bandages were from hurting herself in the kitchen, though it wasn't like it bothered me. The details that Tasty-san shared about Rena's incident before her transfer played vividly in my mind. Now that I knew about it, I couldn't even dream of Rena as a cute, ideal girl. Ideal. Okay. Oh, that's me! Kei-chan, I see you're still aiming for the nationals. It was Mion. I had already sensed her approach, so I wasn't that surprised. Oh, Mion. If you understand, then leave me alone. I'm busy practicing. I gave her a curt reply without my usual jokes. Then I gave the bat an even larger swing, tacitly, keeping Mion from getting any closer. Hey, Kei-chan, take it easy. I think Mion got the message, but she still urged me to give it a rest. Homeroom's not that far off, is it? Just let me finish practicing. I swung the bat even harder as a sign of my refusal. Kei-chan, when did you get into baseball? Just recently. Recently? You mean yesterday? Don't ask if you already know. Oh dear. That's a very unsportsmanlike reply. You're distracting me. Go away. I ignored Mion and kept swinging. I'm scared of her. Normally she'd get mad or bored and leave if someone gave her the cold shoulder like this. But Mion just stood there, waiting patiently for me to stop swinging. I didn't sense any hostility. But we were at school in plain view. I doubt she'd suddenly attack me here. Or was that too naive? Still, I was starting to get tired. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad to take a break and hear her out. You need me for something, right? What is it? Sweat poured from me as I stopped swinging. I noticed my shoulders were heaving as I breathed. I cursed my lack of exercise. At this rate, I might not be able to move as needed when the time came. I should probably keep practicing my swings to build stamina in addition to the excuse for carrying the bat around with me. Well, it's nothing important. If you're tired, I can ask again later. Now is fine. I'm only dealing with you right now because I judged the situation to be safe. Talking to you alone and away from others? That's out of the question. Well, Mion was uncharacteristically trying to choose her words. But unlike Tasty San, it didn't look like she was going to talk about something I'd rather not hear. Mion was puzzled, trying to find the right thing to say. But then she gave a hearty laugh to break herself out of that mire. This old man's just no good at this stuff. Having a poor vocabulary hurts. What's this all of a sudden? If you have something to say, just say it. Stop it. Stop that swinging. She cut straight to the point. Her request was so frank I didn't understand it for a moment. I had already stopped swinging to listen to her, hadn't I? I just stopped, didn't I? That's not what I meant. I want today to be the last day you swing that bat. I'm sorry. It took me some time to understand what she was asking for. What's wrong with swinging a bat? Why? It's none of your business, is it? I'm not bothering anyone, am I? You are. Mion said it flat out. This didn't make any sense, and that was really irritating. When did I bother anybody? Mion was at a loss for words. But she finally made up her mind and spoke, though she stuttered as she said it. Because, Kei-chan, that's someone else's bat. You shouldn't borrow it without permission. It was left behind by a student who transferred, right? I'm just borrowing it until he comes back for it. Yeah, he transferred. Mion grew uncharacteristically flustered. That made it all too clear that his transfer was a lie. But strange, isn't it? For the older brother to transfer by himself, while his little sister stayed behind. Mion couldn't hide her reaction as my words shook her up. Kei-chan, you knew? Satoshi Hojo. Satoko's older brother, right? The one demoned away last year? Unable to respond to that, Mion fell silent. Rena asked the same thing. Why did you start swinging that bat? She told me Satoshi did the same thing, practicing his swings right before he went missing. So, is this some kind of omen for Oyashiro-sama's curse? Shh! Mion panicked and looked around. Please, Kei-chan, don't mention Oyashiro-sama so recklessly. I don't believe in him, but the others very much do. Rena especially. Dangerously so? I'm sorry, Cal, you're, not reading anything right now.
You're playing with the sliding puzzle. It's all good.
Yippee. Anyway, you're scaring everyone. If you're just fooling around, then stop it. You have to stop acting like Satoshi. I was the one who was scared. Who do I have to thank for taking up this bat in the first place? But it still unsettled me knowing that my actions were overlapping with Satoshi's. It would be one thing if someone suggested it, but I thought I was making my own decisions. I'll say this now. I don't know anything about Satoshi. After all, you didn't tell me anything about him. Squashed the beast, by the way, sorry. How dare you? You squashed her. Oh my god. We didn't...
Which?
Moonpai is squashed. We didn't mean to hide it. You were hiding the incidents that happen every year, weren't you? That's because we didn't want to, You didn't want to scare me? That's your reason for leaving me out? No, we didn't mean to. Mion, I asked you directly if something happened at the dam, didn't I? And you told me nothing happened. When someone was dismembered and murdered. You lied to me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to lie to you. Friends don't hide things from each other, right? Isn't that right? Then you all aren't my friends. Kei-chan, we... Mion looked helpless and flustered. Was I imagining the tears in her eyes? I never could have imagined Mion acting like this. Oh, by the way, those get well mochi you brought the other day, they were good. I thought I was going to bleed. Who did it? You? Or Rena? Me. She admitted it so easily. I couldn't help but be surprised at how easy that was. You could have killed me. How could you do that to a friend? But it was just a little prank. Mion gave me a wry smile mixed with confusion, causing even more anger to well up inside me. You think that was a prank? I grabbed Mion by the collar and lifted her up. That wasn't the same as putting Tabasco sauce in a piece of mochi. It was a needle, a sewing needle. If I had swallowed that and it lodged in my throat, what would she think would happen? Mion's face froze as her body rattled in fear. This wasn't the Mion Sonozaki I knew anymore. Anyways. You're not my friend. There's no reason for me to listen to someone who's not my friend. So just leave me alone for a while. Got it? Mion wasn't replying anymore. It won't be that easy to erase me, you know. The cops have been on to you from the start. Oh, you shouldn't be sharing that, Koichi. You don't think you can make me disappear like you did to Satoshi. I said it clearly. This was my declaration of war. I think you guys are suspects in the previous incidents too. I also know you've spent a lot of time with the cops ever since the anti-dam movement. Anti-dam moment. Don't think you can hide it from me. Got that? How did you know? Mion stood there with a dumbstruck look on her face. That was when I heard the principal ringing the bell for school. It was time for morning homeroom. Let's go. Class representative needs to be there, right? At that moment, for the first time, I realized Mion was sobbing as tears ran down her cheeks. You're so mean, Kei-chan. I wanted to console her, but I shut my mouth. I had no need to feel guilty. I'm going. Don't be late for homeroom. I left Mion still shaking as I turned around to head for the entrance. God, Keiichi, good job. Fucking get it. Take charge of your life. Jesus. I had no idea how troubling it was to make a girl cry. Behind my back, I could hear her muttering. It was a faint mutter as she was speaking to herself. So that's how it is. Huh? She wasn't saying it to anyone. It was Mion talking to herself. But it was a sobbing voice that had a kind of giddy, cursing tone. I inadvertently stopped and turned back towards her. Oh! So it was that bastard. He leaked it all to Kei-chan. No, Tasty-san! No.
It's fine, he's a cop.
Oh! She balled up her fist as her tears continued to rain down. She glared at a spot at the ground with a terrifying yet smiling face, cursing. A chill ran down my spine from that demonic expression. This transformation, Mion's transformation, was different from Rena's. I should have killed him back then. He forgot the mercy I showed him just because he was going to retire this year. Retiring this year? Was she talking about Tasty-san? Damn it. Damn it, I'm going to kill that damn old man. Ugh!
Mion is also having a normal one.
We're all having normal ones. Oh my god, that emote is perfect. Yes. Felt like the air itself had begun distorting. With Mion at the center, the world had begun to twist and spiral. Bending. Whirling. This was the first time I'd experienced such a visage. Do you say visage or visage?
I say visage.
Okay. I know there are two ways you could say it, but I was just curious.
Visage sounds like so unnecessarily posh.
Visage. Anyway.
Like vase versus vase.
Rise. Attention.
Sorry. Rise.
The demon's taking over.
Rise! Mion made up an excuse for her red eyes by saying there was something wrong with her contact. After that, neither Rena nor Mion spoke to me for the rest of the day. Good. Good. Neither Satoko nor Rika-chan looked me in the eye. Good.
Aww.
Strangely, I didn't feel hurt. Everything had just went back to the way it was. The months since I transferred in had been almost too much fun. That was all. School was supposed to be something like this to begin with. I should have disliked that feeling, but today it felt oddly refreshing. Awesome. The bell rung, sounding the end of the monotonous school day, which had felt so tense yet so dull.
No more penis music.
Man, I love that CRT TV.
Oh, memories of ye olden times.
Ye olden times. Since it would cause a lot of unpleasant memories if they asked me to join in on the club activities, I promptly started preparing to go home without even looking at them. I stuffed the contents of my desk into my bag, wrapped my hand around Satoshi's now familiar bat, and began heading towards the entrance. I was assailed by both the exhausting relief that nothing had happened today and the tiring possibility of the same thing repeating tomorrow. But deep down inside me, far beneath in the recesses of my heart, achingly, I knew.
The what of his heart?
Recesses.
Are you memeing?
Recesses.
Okay, you're memeing. Thank God.
Hang on, no, I'm looking it up. I've heard people say recesses.
Absolutely not. Recess.
I know what recess is. Recess is pronunciation. Hang on, I gotta know who is fucking with me by saying recesses.
It's recesses.
I know it's recesses, but maybe somebody was fucking with me, or wrong or right.
Recesses.
If you liked this video,
Who the fuck? I think it was my mom. She has lied to me about it being recesses. It's pronounced recesses. Anyway, this would be the last day of this cycle. I couldn't tell how the ending would be, whether it would end as I wished it to end, or it would end as I hoped it wouldn't. Regardless, in my current state, there was something more important than how things would end. There was something I wanted to know. Why did I have to be killed? How did it come to this? Why? For what purpose? The sunlight was relentless. The sun, the heat, even the air. They wouldn't give me my answers. Or could it be that the cries of the Higurashi were desperately trying to tell me something? Somewhere mixed in with their shrieks, Tomitake-san and Satoshi were also probably trying to tell me something. I simply haven't been able to realize it yet. When do I realize it? I wonder if I will be amongst the Higurashi fruitlessly crying to the next victim. Glancing down at my feet, I saw a Higurashi on its back, spasming weakly.
Wee, 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 wee. Wee, wee, wee.
There's still much of the summer left, yet this one was already chirping its last song. I couldn't tell what it was saying, no matter how hard I listened. But I had to try. I had to try to listen to what it was desperately trying to tell me. Tell me, cicada. Oh. At that moment, the shrills of the Higurashi ceased all at once, as if they had huddled together, fearing that the person who brought them to their dreadful fate had arrived.
Ah,
Whoa!
I'll buy it at a high price.
It's pronounced recesses. Thank you, Gracie. Would you like to name another scrungle? You can. Should I name it Recus?
Hate. Hatred and filth and vile and bile.
I'll do it.
That's fine.
Yep, there's room. There's room.
Ruckus.
Recus. Recus. I'll do it. I'll do it. There's no mistaking it.
Recuses.
Recuses. Oh my god, Moonpie said it so good. She said it perfect. There's no mistaking it, a presence was approaching. The sound of footsteps was almost non-existent. If the Higurashi hadn't warned me by ending their chirping, I wouldn't have noticed. My exhaustion left me in a heartbeat. In its place was a rush of adrenaline that sharpened all my senses. I was just barely able to hold back that creeping, suffocating feeling of horror. Recklessness? No. I'm saying recesses, whatever. Wrong. It wasn't something I could hold back for long. But in this moment, when I needed to be razor sharp, I was able to retain my composure. I wasn't going to shout like I did yesterday. I hid myself calmly amongst the trees, waiting for my pursuer's shadow. Could I get them to pass by me? No, since I was able to hear their footsteps, they were probably also able to hear mine. They might have already been able to tell that I'd hidden myself and was holding my breath. The person tailing me, was it Rena, just like yesterday? If it was Rena, I wouldn't hold back. I could just yell at her and make her go ahead like yesterday. If it wasn't Rena, it would depend on how they acted, I guess. The footsteps ambled closer. I swallowed, wiped my clammy hands on my pants, and readjusted the grip on the bat. I could tell that the fear that had beaten back once was now waiting for another opening to come at me. Who could it be? I peeked out from behind the tree at the person following me. Oh! My imagination hadn't led me astray. It was Rena. There was a bit of relief as I realized it was someone I knew, but that feeling left me in an instant. This wasn't the same Rena that I knew. Her eyes were dark and lifeless, but her mouth appeared as if it was carved into a crescent. Yes, it looked like she was grinning slightly. And in her right hand was a hatchet. I hid myself behind the tree once again and recalled the unbelievable sight I just saw. What was that just now? The embodiment of terror laid bare. Baseball, practicing my swing. There were tons of excuses for me to be carrying a bat, but for that hatchet? There was no excuse for that. A hatchet, just like that. That's you.
Keiichi-kun, are you playing hide and seek? I wonder.
My heart was pounding, hard enough that I had trouble breathing. What little composure I had been able to hold onto was now crushed. In its place, cold sweat gushed forth, covering my entire body, letting me know precisely what kind of emotion had taken hold. Not good, not good, not good. I wasn't able to hide myself completely. She already knew I was there. Or here.
Are you trying to scare me? I wonder.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. That is not a hatchet. What was the name?
I believe it's a. Is it a naka? I think that's what it's called.
Ah.
I might be wrong.
I decided that it would be better to reveal myself now, since there was still space between us, than to allow Rena to come any closer. I adjusted my grip on the bat again, readied myself mentally, and stepped out from behind the tree. Hey, bitch. Oh, I'm so mad. That just came out. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I found you, Keiichi-kun.
Rena was pleased that she found me, eliciting a mysterious giggle. Her mouth was smiling, but her eyes told me she was displeased by the fact that I had been hiding. Those eyes, they were just so empty. My legs began to quiver. Ugh, not good. In the pit of my stomach, some sort of viscous, hot, and cold substance began spreading around. If I allowed it, that substance would slip into my bloodstream and undoubtedly freeze all the organs in my body. Not good. Not good. I'll be devoured by Rena at this rate. Strike back. Don't lose. What is it? I blustered, hiding behind my bravado. But Rena didn't flinch one bit.
Same as Keiichi-kun. I'm heading home.
Then what about that hatchet?
God, me
ruin.
too, Jizu.
Then what about that bat you're holding?
Keiichi being hit by IBS. That's good.
We've all been there.
Hang on, I'm moving my mouse pad. Okay. I'm practicing my swing.
Then I'm treasure hunting.
Rena gave a flippant explanation as to why she had such a fearsome weapon. Treasure hunting?
At Treasure Mountain near the dam site, I found the new cute thing. So I needed this to dig it out.
How could I believe that?
You wouldn't believe it, would you?
Rena's laugh was obviously very strange. I'd seen Rena's transformation many times before, but the one today was completely different. Like her mischievous tone and the shrewd glint in her eyes, it wasn't something that roundabout. I'm not sure what to say. It was just so obvious.
Wait, Keiichi-kun?
Rena didn't stop walking, even as she let out that eerie laugh. Whenever Rena got too close to me, I would scurry away and turn back towards her. This cycle repeated over and over. That's funny. No matter how you looked at it, I was being chased by Rena and was trying to escape. Just don't follow me!
I can't do that. My house is this way after all.
When I met with Rena on this road yesterday, she cowered and trembled as she followed my commands, but today was different. Rena didn't show a hint of trepidation. Actually, wasn't I the one who was cowering? If the way home for Rena and me was the same, that's fine. I just changed my route. That'd work out, wouldn't it? I turned onto a side street I'd never been down and knew little about. But Rena saw me do that and followed me while laughing. Why? Why? Aren't you going home? Then just go home down the street you normally do. Why would you follow me down this weird little side road? Those thoughts screamed in my head, eventually spilling out of my mouth. Why are you following me? The tone of my voice was already tinged with terror.
Because I want to talk to Keiichi-kun. Keiichi-kun wants to talk to Rena too, doesn't he? Doesn't he?
I don't want to talk about anything with you.
That's a lie, isn't it? There's something you want to ask me about, isn't there?
Not at all. I have nothing to talk to you about.
That's a lie, isn't it?
It's not a lie. Oh. If you screamed, we did not hear it.
It's okay. I knew it wouldn't pick up anyway, so I didn't bother.
Rena's scream echoed, startling some nearby birds into flight. I cringed in fear. The only other thing I could do was increase my pace.
Keiichi-kun, talk!
Why was I running down this unfamiliar and deserted street?
Doesn't Keiichi-kun have something he's worried about?
Nothing at all. I'm not worried about anything.
Lies!
Even though I was running, even though Rena was walking, why wasn't I getting any further away? Ooh.
I know. I really do know. You're scared, aren't you, Keiichi-kun?
I'm not scared. I'm not scared of anything.
Lies!
I've had nightmares like this.
Welcome.
Proxy!
Oh,
Proxy, holy shit, hello.
this is a big party.
Holy shit, hello. Hello and welcome to the end of Higurashi Chapter 1. So,
Even end of Evangelion.
the end of Evangelion. Welcome. I'm gonna shout you out. Beamed and blended. I'm gonna do 2 shout-outs like this. There we go. How was Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga?
It's a good ass game.
How was it? We reached the liar part, have we? The second one, toward the end.
This is like the third liar part.
Third liar. Yeah, no, we're at the end. So if you guys don't want this Higurashi Chapter 1 spoiled for you,
Get out of here.
get out of here. Get the fuck out. No, it's okay. if you have to avoid spoilers, don't worry about it. But this game is also like 20 years old, so I have somehow avoided spoilers like all my life, so I am unfamiliar with Higurashi, and I wanted to play it with my friend Cal because he is familiar with it, and also
I have many mental illnesses about this game.
and Ryukishi, the writer of Higurashi, is going to be working on Silent Hill Forte, and so I wanted to check out Higurashi, and I really fucking love it, honestly. So, also, if you are unfamiliar with me, hello, I am Spoony. I play spooky games, and sometimes play farming games for fun after spooky games, as aftercare for spooky games, and that is kind of my deal. So if you like scary shit, and also sometimes farming, you're in the right place. You're in the right place, baby! Alright, let's continue this scary game.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck. Awesome. My breathing grew heavy, and it felt like my legs were giving out from beneath me. Also, Proxy, thank you. Thank you for the raid. I always forget to be kind and thank people for raiding me. Thank you for sharing your community with me. Welcome, everybody. Appreciate
Be
it.
rootin', be tootin', be shootin',
Be rude.
but most of all, be kind.
Be kind. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Alright. Rena wasn't even breaking a sweat. We're being chased by Rena with a hatchet. She has a hatchet right now.
Hatchet, quote unquote.
I'll listen. This time I'll listen.
I had no idea what she was talking about or what exactly she wanted to do.
This time I'll listen. It will be different from this time with Satoshi-kun.
When she said Satoshi's name, I turned back for a moment. But even as I did that, Rena was still advancing. I couldn't afford to stop.
Satoshi-kun was worried too. It looked like he was having such a hard time, but I didn't listen. I was so sad.
Where did this street connect to? All these twists and turns, ups and downs. It was hard to believe that this was even remotely in the direction towards my house. My sense of direction had long since gone out the window.
I really regretted it when Satoshi-kun transferred out. I thought that if I had listened, he may not have transferred out. I really regretted that.
Did you? The road led me deeper into the forest. Wasn't I getting farther away from the village the more I ran? I lost more and more of my composure the more I thought about it. But despite this realization, my inner self was still disturbingly calm.
So you see, I vowed that if there was someone struggling like Satoshi-kun did, I'd save them! I don't want to see anyone transfer out again!
Damn it! Sorry. What does transfer even mean? I won't let you transfer me. I won't end up the same as Satoshi.
Come on, Keiichi-kun, talk to me. I'll be able to understand you, Keiichi-kun.
Why are there no longer quotations? Oh, there they are.
I'm your ally.
I started wheezing, out of breath. My lungs were so hot that they felt like they were going to explode, and my heart was beating as fast as as hard as it possibly could. I should have practiced. I can read, I swear. I should have practiced running instead of my swing. I couldn't even afford to scoff at that stupid thought.
If Keiichi-kun doesn't have anything to worry about, he'll go back to normal. Everyone will go back to being friends, and we can enjoy club activities again. Next time we'll team up and beat Michan.
Yeah, how much fun would that be? Rena couldn't even imagine how much I had wished I could turn back the clock on these past few days.
You could be nice to me again, too. I want to go searching for treasure again. This time I'll prepare a nice lunch. Actually, we could just go right now. Let's go to the dam site together. I'll show you the cute thing I just found. I'm sure you'll like it too.
You good, Rena? My footsteps made pathetic flapping sounds as my legs wobbled and faltered. Hot on my heels, Rena's steps were sharply breaking twigs underfoot. I had to accept it. I was on the run, being chased by Rena. If she caught me, it was all over. I realized it instinctively. I couldn't even begin to think of what the end would entail. Just that if I was caught, it was all over. That's all I knew. It didn't matter how it was going to end. I wouldn't let it end. Not without knowing anything. Not yet. That momentary lapse was all it took. Of all the things that could have happened, my knees buckled underneath me and I crumbled towards the ground. I tried to stand frantically, urging my legs to respond. I used my bat as a makeshift cane to prop myself up, but Rena was already standing right in front of me. Oh. Compared to me, out of breath and utterly exhausted, Rena was so cool and composed that she could have froze the air around her. She wasn't breathing hard at all, rather, I couldn't even sense her heart was beating.
You afraid of something, I wonder? It's not like you to tremble, Keiichi-kun.
Her expression looked almost affectionate. Those soulless eyes, that mask of affection. As she admonished me for trembling, Rena's hands deftly slipped on over her head. The blur of arms as they moved made me feel as if I was staring at the godliness of the thousand-armed Buddha. Then as both her hands met above her head, the hatchet that she held came into focus. I stared up at it in disbelief. It was all I could do. Tell me, what happened to Satoshi? Rena stayed like that with that hatchet raised above her head and solemnly opened her mouth. It was as if she was expressing a farewell to a friend she was never to see again. That cruel scenario resided somewhere in her actions.
Yeah. Satoshi-kun transferred out.
Enough of that transfer crap. It means demoned away, doesn't it? Doesn't it? You can tell me now, can't you? Who made Satoshi disappear? Was it you? Mion? Or someone in the village? Answer me! I became frantic the more I screamed, but Rena did nothing but maintain the smile frozen on her face. That's not a smile.
I have no idea what Keiichi-kun is talking about.
Then I'll say it in a way so you do. Who is the perpetrator of this chain of mysterious deaths?
You seem to be confused, Keiichi-kun. There is no human perpetrator. Everything is by Oyashiro-sama's will, including that car outside.
That was really... I was like, what was that? Isn't Oyashiro-sama's curse just superstition? You believe in that too?
It's not about believing or not. Oyashiro-sama exists. Period.
Rena's gaze grew even more... What is that word?
Gelid.
Gelid.
It's a gross word.
Gelid. The ferocity of her stare was so intense, not allowing me to question anything. There's just no way that something like Oyashiro-sama could exist.
You don't believe in Oyashiro-sama?
There's no way I could believe it. There's no way it could exist.
It exists. Oyashiro-sama exists. Keiichi-kun should have felt it personally.
I never felt something like that.
Keiichi-kun, haven't you felt someone apologizing to you before? Constantly on top of that?
All noise from the outside world disappeared. Only Rena's voice resounded loudly and terribly.
You see, until you forgive them, they'll always be with you. At school, at home, at your bedside.
I couldn't understand what Rena was saying.
It came to me, too. Oyashiro-sama did. That's why I transferred and came back to Hinamizawa.
I don't understand. I don't understand. What does transfer even mean? What was Rena saying?
Hasn't Oyashiro-sama come to you as well, Keiichi-kun? I'm probably the only one you can confide in. I won't let you transfer out, okay?
Well, ah ha ha ha. Rena's demented laughter clanged around inside my head. Was Rena saying Oyashiro-sama came to her as well? That's right. Last night I had heard about that when I asked about Rena. Oh, that's you.
This is a flashback, but it's been a while, so we'll reread it.
Yeah!
Please keep this confidential. Also, part of this may be speculation. Not all of it may be true. Are you still interested?
Tasty-san began speaking.
Neither the victims nor the school filed a complaint, so there's no preliminary report. Basically, the police hadn't interviewed in this matter. So all of these details are just what I heard from those involved, meaning it's not that credible.
You said there were victims? Didn't Rena just break all the windows?
No. Rena Ryugu had attacked 3 boys, using a metal bat.
I don't think this was in the flashback. Or this was in, like, when we experienced the scene. Originally.
It was in different words.
It was, I think.
2 of them made it out with only bruises, but the other had been injured so badly that one of his eyes was permanently damaged.
Oh, wouldn't that be considered assault? Shouldn't the police have arrested her?
For whatever reason, the victim never pressed charges. There was no report to the police, so...
They were beaten with a bat and suffered significant injuries. Normally there would be a criminal investigation, but why didn't they press charges?
I tried asking the 3 male victims for their side of the story, but they were all reluctant. It's hard to say, but they were all afraid, even after she transferred schools.
Tasty-san, could you summarize it starting from the beginning? Rena hit people while she broke the windows? Or was it she started breaking the windows after she got bored of hitting people? They sounded similar, but the meanings were drastically different. Beep.
I apologize for the
No,
horn outside.
it was funny. It's adding ambiance.
The ambiance of Rochdale.
Yeah.
On an undisclosed date, Rena Ryugu was conversing with 3 male students, close friends of hers, near the pool storage shed.
I'm drinking my coffee. Alright.
Wolfie.
Who were those 3?
I can't reveal their names, but they were close to Rena Ryugu, and it seems they were a group of friends. She was the lone girl in their group.
So it wasn't that strange that the 4 of them were together. So what happened?
I don't know the reason why. She took the baseball team's bat that was in the pool storage shed and beat the 3 of them down, one after the other.
What? There were no witnesses. This was an account pieced together by the information given at the time of the incident. One day after school, Rena and 3 male students were at the pool storage shed talking together. They weren't seeking help, rather, they usually met up there. It appears it became a heated discussion. At that time, Rena underwent a change. The change was so abrupt that the three of them didn't comprehend what was happening. Then,
I'm pretty sure I've heard that exact smack sound in Mother 3.
I'm pretty sure I've heard that in an RPG Maker game. Or two. Then taking the metal bat, she attacked her friends, one after the other. Oh yeah. Leaving her friends covered in blood with gashes on their heads, she made her way towards the school building. Yeah. Then she broke the glass windows, one after the other. A few minutes later, a teacher appeared on scene and subdued her. Subdued her. What was this change Rena underwent?
What matches up in the statements from the three was a sudden change. The point that there was a transformation.
Transformation. Transformation. Yes, Snake. Sorry. I also could recall Rena's transformation. I'd seen that change many times before. It was so different from the usual Rena that I couldn't help but believe it was someone else who looked like Rena. That transformation they're talking about, had it happened before?
No, there was nothing like that. As far as I could find out in her medical history in the past, there was nothing like that.
Does that happen often, where people change suddenly, like Rena did? No.
Of course it does. I don't know what that joke means. I've never been on DeviantArt.
It's a TF thing.
Oh, I see. I thought it was something innocent.
No.
Something simple. Like maybe there was a site feature that called that. No, here I am with egg on my face.
Listen, DeviantArt, like, the joke with DeviantArt usually is like, so DeviantArt will show, like, fur affinity, it's basically the same thing, but not as furry. It'll show, like, the most recent, like, deviations, like, on the front page. And,
oh no.
And, 90, a huge percent of them, like, you are almost guaranteed seeing, TF or inflation. Guaranteed. Every single time you go on DeviantArt. Yeah, that's that joke. Anyway, I just needed to enlighten you. Anyway, there are plenty of psychological phenomena that could cause something like that.
That was my line.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna drink coffee and then read my Keiichi.
That was a full Rena laugh.
Yeah, I'm sad I haven't been getting all the crazy laughs.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mion needs to laugh
How about for
more.
next chapter we swap the characters around?
No, you could be Rena. You're good at Rena. I like being Mion. Mion has to.
Omochikaeri.
Yeah. Untagged fetish art is just a core DA experience. Exactly. Yeah.
I've never been there. It sounds horrible.
Yep. Then you're saying there was a dormant element in Rena that caused that transformation?
I had to process for a second who Mandark was. I had to like root through my Cartoon Network knowledge from
Oh my god.
18 years ago.
I loved Dexter.
I haven't thought about Dexter's Lab in so long.
Sorry. That was one of my favorite cartoons.
Dee, I cannot say that for certain. But according to the statements of her friends, it's hard to believe that she had such a side to her.
Get out of my laboratory! Anyway. I'm just thinking.
Dexter's a great character in webcomic Scoob and Shag.
Oh my god, I didn't know there was a crossover. Anyway.
That's the entire fucking webcomic.
Oh my god, that's great.
You should go read it. Everyone should go read it.
Oh
It's really great.
shit. Kind, caring, and adorable. Even before she transferred here, she was probably pretty popular in school like she was now. That girl transforming suddenly and assaulting them with a bat, who could imagine such a thing? Nobody could have seen it coming. I myself sometimes believe that I was mistaken for thinking that was Rena, even now. Then what happened after that?
There was a hospital right across from the school, so the three of them were carried in and treated quickly.
What about Rena? What about the police? Why wasn't there a criminal investigation?
These can't get involved unless they are called.
Even though one was badly injured with permanent damage, why didn't they file charges?
That's what caught my attention as well. Either some threat or pressure was placed on them, or they had a reason they couldn't file charges even if they wanted to.
We're talking about you, after all. Of course you looked into it, didn't you?
Well, yeah. But I told you at the beginning, didn't I? That the victims were all very reluctant to talk. They didn't want to touch on the matter. Or rather, they didn't want to be involved.
Reluctant to talk. Didn't want to touch it. Didn't want to be involved. It resembled the villagers here and Oyashiro-sama's curse. Did the teacher at that school tell you anything?
A school is hallowed ground. You could say that they tend to keep scandals under wraps. I didn't have a search warrant, so I had to tread lightly, you see?
Then there was no comment from the school.
No. They denied the incident even happened. It's just 3 male students were carried in for blunt force trauma that day. That's all there was in the hospital records.
The victims didn't speak. The school denied it happened. Then you don't know anything at all.
Yeah. I know nothing other than the incident itself had taken place. The victims also wished this incident to be kept from the public. So if you and I both forget about it, Mayabara-san, then this incident will probably just fade away.
For a brief period, we sat in silence. At first glance, it looked like a simple assault case, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. The depths were obscured by roiling waves, sinking quietly into the void as if it never existed to begin with.
After that, she was suspended by the school. And during that time, she underwent psychiatric counseling.
Did you hear anything about, from that doctor?
Again, they were very professional in regard to their ethics. Or at least very tight-lipped.
Nothing even after you showed them your badge?
I was told to get a warrant. The badge itself has no legally binding authority, after all.
And how did you know that Rena confessed that it was Oyashiro-sama who did it?
There was a nurse I asked in that department. She agreed to help me from just showing her my badge.
What if I refused to say Meowdy?
That's your onus.
You said it. So I know you read the rules. Anyway, then what did she say? Also, welcome, Eternally Tardy. You are tardy to the stream. Then what did she say? Turns out that the nurse hadn't heard anything. Apparently all that she remembered was what she overheard from inside the room.
The nurse said that at the time, Rena Ryugu was very calm and mild-mannered.
It was more like she was confessing her sins at church than counseling a session. Or at a counseling session. I read that wrong. She spoke with her mother there for some of it, but partway through, her mother was asked to leave, so it became a private counseling session between just the doctor and Rena for a while. The part with Oyashiro-sama, when did that pop up?
Partway through. She screamed the name suddenly. That startled the nurse, and that's why she started listening in.
Oh.
It was Oyashiro-sama!
Rena suddenly shouted that. I had no idea what was said before that, so I had no idea what the meaning behind it could have been. I don't know why I read it like that. The doctor calmly and collectedly asked Rena to have a seat. Do you want me to be the doctor?
Yeah.
Okay. What is this Oyashiro-sama you speak of? Gently, ever so gently, a fundamental part of counseling is to be a good patient listener.
Whoever abandons Hinamizawa
Will be hunted down by Oyashiro-sama!
and it's finally gotten to me!
That's the town you lived in before you moved here, isn't that right, Ryuga-san?
I didn't want to move, but because of my mom and dad's circumstances, we had to! Oyashiro-sama wouldn't allow it!
Ryuga-san must have lots of friends in Hinamizawa. Even now you must be missing them dearly, don't you think?
I want to go back. Back to Hinamizawa. No, it's not that I want to go back. I have to go back. I should have come back much sooner, but now it's too late. Oyashiro-sama has come.
Oyashiro-sama is the name of the god in Hinamizawa, isn't that right?
Everyone knows. It's Hinamizawa's guardian deity. And if you ever try abandoning Hinamizawa by leaving, you'll incur its wrath.
You had moved quite a while ago, didn't you? Then it was just now that this god has arrived, is what you're saying?
You might not believe me, but Oyashiro-sama exists.
That nurse was then asked by another nurse to do something and left the room. That was all she remembered. That it was Oyashiro-sama's doing, right?
Sorry, 1 second.
Oh, you're good. I'm gonna make this whole— Oh! I'm sorry, I brought it back up.
I do believe that there's kind of a superstition in Hinamizawa. That if you leave the village, then you'll incur Oyashiro-sama's wrath. You should be familiar with this part, Mayabara-san.
I knew very well what those scorned by the village incurred. To hinder the dam construction project, they cursed the construction foreman to his death. Then the following year, Satoko's parents, supporters, and leading advocates for the dam were cursed to their death. But this was the first time I've heard of the curse incurred by leaving the village. This is my first time hearing that. I can understand outside threats being cursed by the village, but why also villagers who leave? Normally, people who leave villages aren't supposed to be cursed, right? I know it's a bit strange to say it, but I could see it as a rule that the people who come in are the ones who would be cursed. Far from Jupiter, far from his thunder. Curses weren't something to chase after people that leave, were they? Tasty-san pondered for a bit over on the other end of the receiver, then began speaking again.
Well, I told you of long ago when Hinamizawa was called Onigafuchi, didn't I?
I recalled hearing that. Long ago, Hinamizawa was feared and respected as the village of demons.
The villagers set at the foot of the mountains worshipped the demons. So Onigafuchi was hallowed ground that you could never enter. It came to be said that if you entered carelessly, you were cursed by Oyashiro-sama.
Those who set foot in Onigafuchi, in other words, Hinamizawa, would be cursed. I could understand that. I know that, but for leaving to also be no good, that's...
Also, the demons, you see. They were being strictly watched by Oyashiro-sama, so they would not enter into our world. In other words, Oyashiro-sama probably restricted interaction between Onigafuchi and the rest of the world.
I see. I finally understood what sort of thing Oyashiro-sama was. So basically, Oyashiro-sama is more like a warden than a protectorate deity, I guess? Trying to keep this place isolated from the rest of the world.
I guess that's how it would seem. I'm sorry. I don't know very much about myself. I don't know very much about myself? I don't know very much myself. This is mostly what was passed on to me from my mother.
I could understand it a bit better if it was like that. Those who came to Hinamizawa would be cursed, and those who tried to leave would also be cursed. So, because Rena originally lived in Hinamizawa and moved away, she fulfilled the requirements for being cursed. So that means because Rena moved away against its wishes, she was cursed by Oyashiro-sama. This what it adds up to?
In short, that seems to be what it points to, I guess. As a matter of fact, soon afterwards they did move back to Hinamizawa after all.
Those who abandoned Hinamizawa and left were cursed, but then, why only Rena? Shouldn't Rena's parents also have been guilty of the same transgression by moving away and have been cursed? Also, in this day and age in Japan, shouldn't there be a lot of people coming and going? If every single one of them was cursed, then it'd be insane. But in reality, it wasn't that big of a deal at all. At most, there would be one person dying and one disappearing on the day of the Watanagashi. I don't like saying at most, though.
Well, anyways. There's a lot I still don't know. Even if it was Oyashiro-sama's curse, it doesn't explain Rena beating her classmates with a metal bat, or why the victims wouldn't press charges. You don't think the victims were cowering because they believed that a terrible curse had befallen them, do you?
Of course I didn't want to believe it. But more importantly, I had just realized something else. There was another bizarre connection that Rena made between Oyashiro-sama's curse and metal bats. Satoshi fell victim to Oyashiro-sama's curse and went missing. I had recently learned that Satoshi had also become infatuated with the metal bat right before he disappeared, just like me. Then Rena as well. She was affected by Oyashiro-sama's curse. She confessed that much to the doctor. and the weapon which she had used at the time of that horrendous act was, again, a metal bat. And finally, me. I'd encountered various things that were inexplicable, and now I was holding onto a metal bat. I was shocked when I learned that Satoshi did the same thing. It couldn't be. Had the same thing happened to Rena? But there was one critical difference between her and Satoshi's case. That being, Satoshi went missing after falling victim to the curse, but Rena was still here. Both of them had fallen victim to Oyashiro-sama's curse, yet they were met with different endings. And finally, me. I couldn't call it a coincidence anymore. Rena. Satoshi. And finally, me. Could it be that I really was under Oyashiro-sama's curse right now? No, more importantly than that, what should I do now? Satoshi had been demoned away, vanishing without a trace. Rena was fine. Fine? Rena had undergone a change. I could only believe that there was something that wasn't Rena residing within her. Back to present. And here, right now, it was standing before me.
You kind of spaced out for a while. You okay?
For quite a long time. Rena, please tell me. What will happen to me? Rena stood imposingly, not answering. Satoshi disappeared, but Rena didn't disappear. So what will happen to me? Laugh. Laugh! Laugh! Laugh!
I'm
Laugh!
laughing.
Okay. I heard myself back of me. I yelled so loud. I had never heard such an unpleasant laugh before. It had become akin to the sound of her breathing. It was no longer a voice or an expression of feeling.
Don't worry.
Oh, you got cut off saying I'll save you, but that's okay. Discord, why do you do this? Rena took one step forward, still holding the hatchet high above her head. Oh!
Don't put that menu over me.
Sorry!
Now then.
One step closer to the edge, and I'm about to break. Sorry. Rena's face spread out to fill my vision.
Speak.
Speak! Bark! One step closer to the edge, and I'm about to. I'm sorry, I'm ruining the moment. Rena's nose was close enough to touch mine and was still pushing closer.
There's still something you want to say, isn't there? I'll listen. I'll save you. Okay. Speak. Okay. Speak. Okay.
I slumped down, landing squarely on my butt. It wasn't for some pathetic reason. It was all I could do to get as far away from Rena. Laugh. That's a lot of laughing.
And so on and so forth.
I had the gut feeling that I couldn't let her laughter end, because when that laughing ended, the moment I picked up on that feeling, my body moved by instinct. I sprang to my feet so fast even I couldn't— oh! Believe it, and pushed Rena away with both hands. Hey, Apple. Rena was as light as a feather. Thrown about by the unbalanced weight of the hatchet, she was sent backwards as if she had been carried off by the wind. After confirming that out of the corner of my eye, I dashed off at full speed. I was the perfect picture of fleeing like a greased pig. Get away from Rena.
I've never heard that before in my life.
Run away. I feel like I've heard it. It might be a super American expression. If the translator was American, I don't know. Survive! I couldn't think of anything other than this. While I was running, I remembered I'd been holding onto a bat the entire time. Such a worthless weapon. I couldn't believe I'd forgotten about this weapon at such an important time. I sped even farther down the winding path. I didn't even feel myself gasping for breath or my legs getting heavy. My body understood it as well. If I didn't run away from here, I wouldn't live. I could hear the laughter of that simulacrum of Rena coming from behind me.
It's a good word.
It's a good word, I just didn't know how to say it properly. It rang through the trees in my head and slowly chiseled away at my sanity. The grove of trees thinned out and my field of vision suddenly expanding. Where was this? For a moment I was bewildered by the scenery I felt I knew but couldn't quite remember. I quickly realized it was the dam site. The fact that I dashed madly and ended up in a place like this gave me a bad feeling, like I was following someone's scripted plot. Meta. I had a good view of my surroundings, but I didn't see a single soul here. This was a terrible spot for someone on the run, but there was no better place for an attacker. My heart was already on the verge of bursting. The muscles in my legs were screaming, but I didn't care. If I stopped here, then they might not even be able to scream for much longer. Even still, I glanced back looking for an excuse to rest. Rena wasn't there. Instead, I saw 2 villagers walking around. I breathed a sigh of relief that it wasn't Rena, but a third party. Oh, don't trust them! Don't trust anybody in the village. Except the voice inside me rang
What in the hay is a simulacrum?
Simulacrum. Except the voice inside me rang the alarm once again. Villagers walking around weren't suspicious in and of themselves, but it bothered me. They both wore rough-looking clothes, empty-handed. They definitely gave the impression that they were just out for a walk, but at this time of day, 2 adults wandering around without a purpose, it was enough to raise questions. Out! But more than anything else, those eyes. They weren't chit-chatting while walking. They were both silent, heading forward, looking in my direction. Was I at the end of my rope and had finally started imagining things? I should run away. It's probably the best choice. If they weren't involved, I'd lose them easily by running. If they were part of the group after me, then they would come running after me. Either way, unless I hurried up, Rena would catch up with me. That's right, I was going to run. Deciding that the moment I began to turn tail, both of them rushed towards me as if they knew exactly what I was thinking. You know what this? Okay, I gotta draw a comparison, but like the entire like town, kind of like from the beginning, it was implied that it was like kind of a hive mind kind of deal, and that you shouldn't trust like anybody in the town. And now it's like pretty much like confirmed, like pretty much, not explicitly stated, but this reminds me of an arc in the show, the spin-off Buffy the Vampire Slayer show,
Oh
Angel.
My God.
That
Buffy
show
had a spin-off show?
Yeah, Angel. It was about Angel, the vampire angel. Anyway, there was an arc where basically one of the characters gave birth to a god. It already sounds way... Yeah, it already sounds way up my alley. And so this god, she was so... like, when she was born, it was just, like, shining light, and then it was the full grown-ass woman. And she was so beautiful, she, like, struck, like, a curse, basically, on everybody, where anybody was just, like, worshipping her instantly and, like, believed everything that she said. And so she basically had control, like, over everybody that saw her. And it got to the point where basically, like, the entire area that they were in was under her influence. And when people, like, tried to get away from her, she could, like, speak through other people that she had her influence over. And that's what
terrifying.
Yeah, it was fucking scary, and this is what it reminds this reminded me of that, and I just had a flashback to how much that fucking scared me. It's so fucking scary. So many nerd friends in high school were obsessed with Angel. I only watched that arc when I was younger, because my dad was like, "Here, check Angel out." And I started watching that, and I was like, this kind of rules, but it's terrifying. Anyway, somewhere inside me, I had jumped to the conclusion that Rena was the only thing I needed to be afraid of. I made the assumption that I didn't need fear anything else, but right now, I realized just how blatantly wrong I was. Suddenly, the story Tasty-san told me about the demons all leaving the village to hunt prey floated through the back of my mind. I could tell they were both coming after me without even turning around because of their frenetic footsteps. It was frightening, being unable to shake Rena off as she slowly closed in on me, but this didn't even compare. Being pursued with such violent ferocity, the straightforward horror was unparalleled. One of the pursuers' arms grazed my shoulder. Now it wasn't just their frenzied footsteps, but also the distinct sound of their breathing that I could hear. No, I could practically feel them breathing on me. They were already right behind me. Calm down, Keiichi, my bada. Used to watch Buffy before going to school. That's fucking awesome. Still running at full tilt, I felt the surrounding area go still. No, it felt like time itself had stopped. I turned my head back slightly in that frozen world, realizing how close my pursuers had gotten to me. I couldn't win against the legs of an adult. Out of context, that's a really funny sentence. In less than the time it would take to blink twice, when this frozen time began moving again, they'd be right on top of me. And then... Don't think about it, Keiichi. First, realize that you won't be able to shake them off like this. If the fact that you can't get away was a given, then you need to make a decision. Go with the right leg or go with the left. You just need to decide which one. Let's go with the left. The moment I decided that, the temporal singularity burst into pieces. Right? Left. I swung the bat in a wide arc with my right arm. Using that inertia, I stopped and suddenly spun. Oh. Two of them were clearly startled, momentarily losing sight of me. Both of their outstretched arms, ready to grab me, instead grasped at empty space. The man on the right, I applaud him being able to figure it out, spun around to the spot I shouldn't have been and faced me in astonishment. But it was too late. I didn't even need to swing my bat. All I needed to do was extend my arms as I turned around. It was by no means a heavy blow, but it seemed like it had enough power behind it to knock him off his feet. But just knocking him down wasn't enough to scare him away. He got back up in no time. Both of them took a fighting stance and were ready to face me. This made me certain they weren't just two people out for a walk. They were clearly after me. It felt much easier than dealing with Rena. Just by not recognizing their faces, by not knowing them, it made things easier. I smiled wryly on the inside. What do you want with me? Next one is going to be right in your face, you bastard! It's fine if it was just a bluff. By barking out at them, I was able to fire myself up. They didn't respond, spread out to either side of me with unbelievably calm expressions on their faces. One of them would grab onto my bat and the other would hold me down. Was that their plan? Taking on both of them at once would be impossible. Hot sweat poured from every pore in my body. Then I'd just have to settle it with the first move. I'd step in and strike the first one down, narrowing my target down to the man on the right who had already been knocked down before. I stepped in and swung with all my might. There was no way for an unarmed person to guard against it. It would cause immense damage. If they blocked it with their arm, their bone would snap like a twig. If they turned their back to it, then it was possible the blow would travel all the way to their vital organs. It looked like he was aware of this. He pushed farther through the kill zone between us and delivered a fist right into my gut. Not good. With this distance, in this position, in this state, there was no way for me to dodge it. The world flipped upside down. I understood that I was being tossed around like a rag doll. I landed on the soft earth without a sound, feeling the grainy soil press against my face. It didn't hurt at all. But the moment I thought that, I suddenly felt pain coming from the abrasions on my skin, as well as the contents of my stomach being forced upwards, flooding my mouth with a bitter sensation. I knew very well that I didn't have the time to relish this experience. I stood up as quickly as I could, but at that moment the other man was already barreling towards me. Being able to comprehend calmly that I simply couldn't dodge it made it all the more upsetting. After plowing into my stomach full force once again, my assailant twisted around behind me and locked his thick arm around my neck. My throat felt like it was being crushed by his immense strength. Keiichi's having a real normal on this stream.
Yeah.
I couldn't even contemplate that I was being strangled or that I was about to go unconscious. My vision simply darkened and a silent whining noise began playing deep inside my mind. Yeah, that's how it is. It took everything I had to keep myself from blacking out. While this was happening, the other man was more than likely standing in front of me. I wasn't able to open my eyes, but I could feel that he was there. There was nothing I could do now. Unable to shake this arm off me, I couldn't run. I couldn't fight back. Dire straits. I couldn't even come up with the phrase that adequately described my situation. Sleep. Oh. Your French teacher had you watch the French dub of Buffy? That's awesome. What? I love that.
Spanish class, we watched a Spanish soap opera.
See,
And it really bugged me that we didn't have enough time in the year to, like, see the end of the show. It, like, bothered the shit out of me.
I'm home. A familiar ceiling. The smell of the bed and pillows. I knew them well. Was this my room? Normally there wouldn't be anyone in my room besides me, but their presence made me spring wide awake. I need to, okay, I'm gonna read this. When I did that, pain shot through my entire body. Oh! I was gonna say it, now Rena's face is on the screen. Okay. I just want to say, I really have liked throughout this game the implication that this could all be in Keiichi's head. This could all be, like, he's just being, like, paranoid. And he's just attacking villagers randomly because he's like, oh god, they're after me! And now he's got it in a chokehold and is sent home. It's great. I love it.
We also have a little bit of the possibility that Keiichi's an unreliable narrator.
That too.
Because a lot of the stuff that Oishi said to us just a few minutes ago, that was a flashback, and we didn't get that originally.
Yeah,
there was
we
a lot
didn't.
of details there that we just did not get until just now.
He did not tell, like, he was not telling us that girl jump scare. Yep.
Feeling alright?
No.
No.
I think you'd better just lie down for a bit.
Get the fuck out of my house. Why are you in my room, Rena? Blood began to surge through my muscles and my capillaries, but Rena's smile belonged to the Rena I knew well. I knew I shouldn't let myself feel this way, but I relaxed, thinking that this version of Rena was safe. Why am I...
Remember?
After losing consciousness, nothing at all. Of course you were unconscious. My body had become more lethargic than I could ever have imagined. I guess that would be the expected outcome after exerting everything I had back there. I tried to at least clear my head, but I just couldn't shake the sluggish feeling out of my mind.
I called the doctor. He should be here soon. I think you should better just lie down until then.
I wasn't injured seriously enough to merit calling a doctor, but knowing that someone impartial was coming was slightly reassuring. Why am I here? I'm sure I was at the damn site.
No. What happened? When I got there, Keiichi-kun was already passed out.
That's why I'm the one who wants to know. I was attacked by two weirdos. As I talked about it, I finally remembered what happened right before I passed out. Recalling that memory and the terror that went along with it caused the fogginess around my head to clear right up. Let's forget about those two for now. I didn't expect Rena to be nursing me. I thought Rena was trying to kill me. She would have had the perfect chance while I was unconscious. Not only did she not kill me, she had nursed me back to health. Amazing. You could drag me all the way back here. Wasn't I heavy? Looking at Rena's delicate frame, it was hard to believe that she had not only gotten me back home, but even dragged me all the way up to the second floor. Did she have some help?
Don't you remember, Keiichi-kun?
Rena appeared a bit surprised, but still kept her smile.
I only propped you up on my shoulder. You said you could walk on your own and that you were fine. You don't remember?
I didn't remember. My memory was fuzzy after the point where I lost consciousness. What about those two?
Hmm?
When you got there, Rena, the ones with me, or rather, those two guys...
There wasn't anyone.
She said it bluntly. The way she stated it felt slightly unpleasant. I was just too timid at that time. I might have been able to force some answers out of Rena, but if I did that, then this kind of Rena might transform into the scary Rena who I didn't know. Fearing that, I didn't press any further. Thinking about it, it was the obvious choice. If both of those men were there, I don't think Rena would have even have stood a chance. I couldn't find a way to explain it unless I assumed she brought me here after those two were already gone. Rena was still smiling. Her eyes sparkled warmly. Yet, I felt like I was hallucinating when I saw something akin to a shadow slowly creeping across her face. That small omen sent shivers down my spine. While Rena was still Rena, I needed to make contact. I needed to contact Tasty-san. Rena stopped me when I tried to get out of bed. She said it would aggravate my wounds, so I should sleep. I like to go to the bathroom, though.
Oh, Keiichi-kun, speaking of the bathroom, Cal really needs to go, so, I'll be just a moment. I was waiting for a break, but there just hasn't been one.
Yeah, I could go BRB right now.
Let's do that. I
Let's-
really need to use the bathroom.
Go to the
Ow,
bathroom.
ow.
Go to the bathroom. Get out of here. How's everybody doing? I'm gonna change this background screen eventually. But for now, look at this fan art. Look at these fan arts. So about all this potentially being in his head. I don't think all of it. I think he's just an unreliable narrator. I'm just speculating. I'm just speculating. Did you know you can avoid ads by subscribing to my Twitch channel? That's right. If you're annoyed by ads, for just $3.99 a month, you could go ad-free on twitch.tv/Spoony Plays. I'm sorry. Hashtag ad. Tell me more about this wonderful offer. Well, if you subscribe to my Twitch account, you also get access to subscriber-only emotes. That's right. You too could have soup. You too could use Spoony Bongo. You too could use... I don't actually remember what all the subscriber ones now. I don't know. Subscribers... You too can wiggle. You too can pet Moonpie. I think Minmo is a follower one. Have I played Signalis? I have. That was a while ago. That was Christmas. I actually played Signalis.
Did you know, Keiichi-kun, that if you have a Twitch Prime subscription, you can also subscribe to a Twitch channel with your Prime subscription?
Yeah! You too can... I think that's also a follower-only one. But I don't know. Gex and Snarf, I think, are follower ones. Yeah, you can also pet Moonpie with points, but you can also do it in the chat if you want. You're not helping me sell people.
You're not helping me sell people?
You're not helping me sell people on my subscribing to my Twitch. I'm
back, by the way.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Hello. I'm gonna drink more coffee. No, I'm joking around, JM.
What's y'all's opinion on the fact that Gex is coming back? I welcome him.
I welcome him. See, somebody I was watching mentioned something about them updating the references, and I don't know if they were kidding or if that's an actual thing, but I want it to be an actual thing because I need Gex saying PogChamp in my life. I need that cringe.
They're also updating Clock Tower for anyone who missed that.
I'm excited about that too.
None of you can understand the kind of noises that left my mouth when I saw that fucking announcement.
When I saw they were bringing the Gex trilogy back and he went, "Were you expecting someone else?" I went, "Ah!" Ah! Updating as in making them modern, or updating like making them less sexist? What? I was about to say, what Gex jokes are sexist? And then I remembered there are Gex jokes in my fucking Tail Time that are sexist. Just in there. Without the context, though, it is not. Anyway.
Listen. The teams who seem to be doing the Clock Tower remaster, the Gex remaster, they seem to be pretty cool and on the level.
Mm-hmm.
So, I trust them with it.
If they're actually modernizing the references, I'm gonna be so fucking excited, and I really just need Gex saying PogChamp. Or Pog. I really need him to say poggers. That's all I want. I want to message the company doing this and being like, okay, if you're actually updating the references, please, please, please have Gex say pog. I really need
The
it.
90s were a horrible time. I can't even
They weren't.
say that's true.
Yeah, you weren't alive.
Because, I mean, no, but I know the games that came out then.
Yeah.
And, like, that was an era of unprecedented creativity. We will
Sure.
never get anything like what came out in the 90s ever fucking again.
See, okay, I have thoughts. The 90s, sure, a lot of stuff from the 90s didn't age well, but there was also a lot of stuff from the 90s that, like, if you did it today, people would be like, oh, this is so woke. Why'd they have to make this woke? And it was just a fucking normal thing in the 90s. Like, just have, like, a girl, like, punch things in the 90s, like Buffy. I don't know. Speaking of Buffy.
People complain about Wolfenstein today, but
Yeah.
they didn't when Wolfenstein 3D came out.
No, they didn't! No, they didn't.
That's an old ass series that people didn't used to complain about because it didn't used to be controversial to punch a Nazi.
Yeah. What do you mean, why can't I pet you? Can't you fucking read? It says do not pet on my shirt. That was incredibly mean, but I just also had to be incredibly mean about that. I'm sorry.
Fucking Crash Bandicoot came out in '96.
Yeah.
That would never get made today.
No.
A weird little bandicoot is a star of a game and he picks up some fruit that's not apples but it looks like apples.
It's a shirt. Yeah, it's a shirt that sets boundaries that you should listen to because I'm a real person.
Tomb Raider came out in the 90s. Diablo. One of the most beloved games of all time, GoldenEye 007, came out in the 90s.
It's true.
And this isn't me being like, oh, I wish I was born in the 90s, it was so much better, because it wasn't.
Nah.
It just factually wasn't. We have made lots of strides as a species since then. But, I cannot say that the gaming landscape was poor.
It's true.
Because a lot of really cool shit came out back then.
Shall we?
Anyway, Rena's here.
Anyway, Rena said sorry. Rena couldn't say anything else. Ow! Why did that happen? Oh, I accidentally scrolled on my wheel.
Oh, it's okay.
While Rena stayed in the room, I quickly went downstairs to get the phone receiver in the living room. When I approached the front door, the doorbell rang. Ding dong. It must have been the doctor Rena had called. It was strange for a patient to welcome in the doctor who was making a house call, but it would be incredibly reassuring to have him here for the considerable time it would take Tasty-san to get here. I carelessly opened the door with that simple assumption, and regretted it almost instantly. Oh, Mion with her gun. Mion? Oh, you look just fine. I heard you collapsed, so I came to check up on you. How did you know I collapsed? I heard from Rena over the phone. Do I need any reason other than that? I understood why she would call a doctor, but why Mion too? Rena was descending the stairs behind me. Rena, doesn't Kei-chan look pretty alright? Sheesh, you made me worry for nothing. That's you.
That's me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I worried for nothing as well.
They both began laughing.
Ah, ha, ha.
It appeared to be cheerful laughter, but I couldn't shake the feeling that there was a darkness looming over them. Whoa, what's up with this shoe rack? How did it get like this? The shoe rack that I'd smashed to pieces had been like that since yesterday. I fell, you see, and the bat I was holding at the same time slammed into it. This is what happens when you swing around something you're not used to handling. I kept the fact that it was none of her business to myself.
So it will really startle your parents when they get home. I'll fix it up for you later.
Now, come on, Kei-chan. The terminally ill need their rest. Come, back in bed, back in bed. No. Both of them urged me up the stairs. I had no chance to call Tasty-san. I was pushed into my bed. As it was the first time Mion had been in my room, she began searching around it intently. She fiddled around my room and was scolded by Rena. You can imagine how it went. It was uncomfortable having my room poked around, but the conversation was so benign that it was heartwarming. During that innocent conversation, Mion said something as though it was perfectly ordinary. Rena, did you call the director?
Yep. Right after I called Michan. He said he'd be right over.
Director? That out-of-place word gave me a bad feeling. Rena called a doctor, then called Mion, and after that she called a director? Who was this director? Since Rena and Mion's conversation was so peaceful, it only felt slightly odd. What are you two talking about? Who's this director? Oh! Didn't you know, Kei-chan? We mean the director when we say director. Oh!
The director of a movie. Or like a foreman of a construction site.
Get away from me! I dug through all of my memories for a director who might have business with me. Only one thing came to mind. What Rena had just said. The construction site foreman. The very first victim of the first incident, the dismemberment at the dam construction site, the foreman? But that was strange. He was supposed to be dead. There was no way they could call him. Get out of my face! I don't understand what you guys are talking about. What does the director have to do with me? He said he was coming. Did you mean to my house? I asked one obvious question after another, but all the two of them did was smile coolly at each other. There was a huge difference between how the two of them appeared and how my suspicions were playing out. Slowly, I felt discomfort and panic welling up inside me. I couldn't understand what Rena and Mion were talking about. Kei-chan, you've gotten into baseball lately, haven't you? Pretty sure the director will be happy to hear that. So who is this director?
Director.
Oh, you keep getting cut in and out, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I don't know if it's like audio levels.
It's
or
probably Discord.
Disco. Oh.
Yeah.
So who is this director? Rena and Mion looked at each other and laughed haughtily. That disturbing cackle unpleasantly resounded around me. That laugh, long enough to be unsettling, ended abruptly. Oh yeah, we should finish up before the director comes. You remember, don't you, Kei-chan? Her face was laughing, but Mion's eyes told a different story. Remember what?
Keiichi-kun, had he forgotten, I wonder? About the penalty. About the penalty. Did you really forget? The homework with the mochi? The homework where you were supposed to guess which one Rena had made? You forgot about that homework, didn't you?
I certainly did have that homework. But I had thrown away the rest of the mochi after I found that sewing needle, so I wasn't able to answer which one Rena made. The penalty for that? Why now? No doubt my question was written all over my face. Their answer to my question was that dry laughter. I could no longer make heads or tails of anything. I began to think that this entire day was somehow insane, strange, incomprehensible, being chased by Rena, attacked by strange men, the penalty Mion and Rena were talking about. What were those two laughing at? It didn't take that long for me to realize I had been dragged into an abnormal situation. Who were these two? Who were these people? Who were these doppelgangers of Rena and Mion? Rena had gotten behind me at some point. Oh god, she's got the eyes! Why was she pinning my arms behind my back? What are you doing?
Move. This is your penalty.
My body was already very sluggish, and Rena pinning my arms made it that much harder to move. I seriously tried to struggle, but she wouldn't even budge. My panic began to well up, and I realized this was well beyond the realm of jokes and pleasantries. This freakishly monstrous strength, it would have been impossible for the Rena that I knew. Then, these thin, frail arms grasping me firmly, whose arms were they? Kei-chan, no struggling. Club rule number It doesn't matter which one. You can't fight against the penalty. Mion, no, that thing that looked like Mion spoke to me like how Mion would speak to me, but I was certain that this was not Mion. Someone who wasn't Mion. Someone who was just pretending to be Mion. Need to finish this up before the director comes. Mion fished into her pockets and pulled out something bizarre. I could tell what it was just by looking, but for such a thing to be in her pocket, my mind wouldn't accept it. A gun! What is that? It was a small syringe. It was a small, clear syringe, the kind a doctor might use if he went to them with a high fever. Rena held me even tighter, and I could hear that clattering laughter that no longer sounded like laughter blaring into my ear. That eerie laughter, it wasn't something that the Rena I knew could ever produce from her own throat. This thing that was pretending to be Rena, was this their real laugh? Unable to defend myself, the syringe Mion was holding drew closer, and that needle tip was waving in front of my face countless times. Don't worry, don't worry. It won't hurt, it won't hurt. What are you planning on doing? What kind of sick joke is this? What are you saying, Kei-chan? You know exactly what's going on, don't you? About what? I don't understand any of this at all. I know you know. No use playing the fool this late in the game. Stop talking nonsense to try and confuse me. You're going to have done to you what happened to Tomitake-san. What? The same as Tomitake-san? I didn't really understand what she meant. What did that have to do with the syringe?
You're Eiji-kun? You should have realized it by now.
Rena whispered into my ear, laughing as if to admonish me. Oh!
Jump scare.
That was my phone, I'm sorry. But even the way she spoke was repulsive beyond compare. Playing dumb? Me? About what? What do you mean the same as Tomitake-san?
Everyone thought at first that it was a hit and run. Except when the officer got closer to check if he was still alive. He soon noticed it wasn't a normal situation. His throat was scratched out.
Eris says, I think this is the first time they've shown Mion with the empty eyes. Not
Not the first.
The first time we saw her with the empty eyes was with the mochi. I remember that. Because I was like, oh no, not Mion too. From a knife or something?
No. Nails.
Nails. Nails as in fingernails? With those gouged through? That's right. Tomitake-san had clawed out his own throat with his own nails and died. There's no way someone could die like that. So then, for that to happen...
Welcome!
Oh, fuck! Rove! Hello!
Nice.
What the fuck? Everybody.
Get whisked.
Everybody. Hello. Hello and welcome. We are at the end of a very scary game. So, just be prepared. Be prepared. There's needles. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Rose.
needles, threat,
fear,
vomit, dread.
Vomit, horror, scary. We're at the end of chapter 1 of Higurashi, so if that doesn't sound like your jam, you can head on out. I have no idea. You don't know what Higurashi is? Well, you're in for a treat, baby. We're at the end.
Go watch the VODs.
Go watch the VODs, baby. Needles, nails, throats. We got it all, baby. But thank you so much for the raid, Rove. Shit. How was art? How was your art stream? Thank you so much. Also, hello everybody. I am Spoony. I play spooky games. That's what we're playing right now. We're playing Higurashi, like I said. A lot of stuff going on. We're toward the end of it. So if you want to avoid spoilers, if it sucks, hit the bricks, you know, all that jam. Higurashi, visual novel, original DDLC. Let's get back into it. Let's go. Also,
We thought drugs were to blame.
This
but
is
nothing of that nature was detected.
this is my friend Cal. He is
Hello.
Tasty-san. Or
Always.
Oishi. That's right. The police didn't find any drugs in Tomitake-san's system.
Hi, what do you mean another Cal? Is your name Cal?
I think Rove knows another Cal.
Oh, damn. There's Cals out there.
There's so many Cals. The police told me they didn't find any drugs in Tomitake-san's body.
I'm the real one, though.
Gwe. Sorry. Two of them laughed together with that sickening laughter. Of course they'd laugh. To assume that such a medicine didn't exist just because the police didn't know about it was completely foolish. Meaning the drug that caused Tomitake-san to die in such a bizarre manner did exist? If Mion injected this into me, then that would probably be all the proof I needed. That would basically mean I'd end up the same as Tomitake-san. Become hysterical, scratching out my throat in my last moments, then die. For such an outrageous drug to exist. For Mion to be holding it. And that I was about to be injected with it. In that moment, I did not feel there was any need whatsoever to question it. What kind of idiot, when he's trying to dodge a ball flying straight for his face, has time to think of a reason as to why it's flying at him? Just give up. Alright then. Mion's actions lacked any gravitas. How do you say that one?
Gravitas.
Okay, cool. And that made it even more terrifying. There was none of the ceremony like when someone is sentenced to death. There was no hesitation at all, as if she were brushing her teeth. Mion reached out with one hand and grabbed onto my chest. Ah! It felt like electricity had run through the back of my head and the entire world had gone dark. Did I stand up too fast? Or did someone hit me really hard in the back of the head? Having lost my sense of balance, I was assaulted by a wave of dizziness. Oh, Cal with a K.
I'm the real Cal.
Cal with a C is the real Cal. Yeah, there's a whole lot of anime bullshit you have to stomach the first couple hours of Higurashi. So I'm glad Cal was here to help me through it. Because, you know me, I have low tolerance for anime bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been worth it, honestly. I squatted down for a bit. When I came back to my senses, my entire room had changed drastically. The numbness in my head was gone, and slowly I could tell blood was flowing to my extremities again. How long had I been squatting here? How many minutes? Or has it been hours? It was almost as if the hands on the clock had stopped moving the entire time my eyes were closed. That's how little time passed. Really? The air in the room wasn't filled with that madness from before, only a dull silence. Rena wasn't there pinning my arms, and Mion wasn't there about to inject me with a needle. No way. Could it be? All of it was a hallucination? No! No, Keiichi, you got injected! There was no other presence in the room besides my own. It was the weirdest experience I'd ever had. I was certainly with Rena and Mion. I doubted my sanity for a moment, but I was also seized with some sort of comfort. I guess that terrible ordeal was a hallucination. Neither Rena nor Mion, they wouldn't ever do something so terrible. Stop, Keiji. Take charge. My head grew hot. I could tell my emotions were welling up. Why? That wasn't a reason to cry. Why? It was sorrow. Why was I sad? I don't understand. I don't understand. Kind to everyone, not discriminating against age or gender. Mion. Oh! That Mion was sprawled by the window in an unnatural pose. Blood stained her a deep red from her head down to her chest. The bright crimson smeared on the walls. That splatter had undoubtedly come from Mion. She always had that bright smile and was kind to me from the day I transferred. Rena. That same Rena was slumped at my feet and was making the same pool of blood as Mion. What do you mean? I couldn't comprehend what had happened. Did someone come to save me? Then they beat these two down? With this metal bat? I finally noticed the weight in my right hand. How long had it been there? Is it Tasty-san? Satoshi! It was Satoshi's metal bat. It was covered in a deep red. There was no doubt that this was the weapon used to mutilate both of them. And I was holding that weapon. I was the only person in the house. Did Satoshi possess Keiichi? Hang on. Don't answer my question. What? Looking at this objectively, I couldn't think of anyone other than myself who could have done it. I did this? Stop. That's right.
But yeah.
Keiichi Maibara. What were you gonna say?
Who was it who said it? Someone said it. I got lost in the chat. Someone said, remember back to the start of the VN. We've circled back. Where someone was beating, and you could hear the impacts.
Yes.
And that's how we opened.
Oh! Love that shit. This is one of the...
We circled back to the present.
Listen, this is one of my favorite things ever. I made a list, like somebody on Tumblr asked me top 10 things ever, and one of the things I listed was when a twist in a game is so fucking good that it makes you go, oh, out loud. And so this is one of the top 10 things ever. There it is. Anyway, of course I did it. I told myself gently, as if coaxing myself, hey, me. There is no reason for you to remember it, nor is there a need to regret it. Eat or be eaten. You get that, don't you? But the blood, there's so much. Neither Rena nor Mion had moved an inch. It wasn't just a split forehead and a trickle of blood, nothing that simple. The entire room was splattered with red, and that told me it didn't end with just 2 or 3 strikes. Are they dead? No shit, Keiichi. Both of them? Depths of my mind were calm, but on the surface I was panicking and agitated. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. What happened to your usual calm self? Come on now. Do like you always do. Throw your head back and take a deep breath. Come on. Once. Twice. Breathe deeply. Calm down. Calm down. I chanted that over and over in my head and relaxed. I just killed 2 people. Color came back to my vision and smells reinfused the air. At the same time, I remembered what happened when I blacked out. Thank you for the follow. Arcade. Rena and Mion had attacked me. They were about to inject me with whatever caused the same symptoms as Tomitake-san. But right before that happened, I fought back. I twisted my whole body and threw Rena as she was pinning my arms. Then I followed through with my spin and rammed my foot as hard as I could into Mion's torso. It was soft. Rena tried jumping on me, so I tackled her as hard as I could and slammed her against the wall. I didn't let that brief moment of having them off balance slip by. Satoshi's bat that was left carelessly by the side of my desk. Yay, killing! Boop! At that moment, everything went pitch black. There was nothing recorded past this point in the videotape of my mind. No, that wasn't right. It wasn't that there was nothing recorded. It was recorded just fine. Fine. Just the other me inside myself had told me not to look and had turned off the TV. That's an interesting way to put that. I like that. Moida! Hey, Zeke. Just because the screen had gone black and I couldn't see it didn't mean that the videotape within me hadn't recorded it. The TV was just off, the video was still playing. The tape within me creaking along, still playing. On the other end of that pitch black screen, that horrifying video was still playing on. Oida! Compared to this, though, the scene right before my eyes, was still so difficult to take in. There was blood splattered everywhere on the walls. Where? Put that blood on there, Ryokishi! God damn it! Anyway, imagine if he had, like, actually just splattered, like, fake blood all over this room and then took another picture. The 2 of them in these unnatural poses. Not a sign of movement from them. I couldn't even tell if they were breathing, no matter what the circumstances were. My friends, these girls, I had attacked them. I may have even killed them. But if I hadn't done this, I would have been the one done for. Balancing that out on an imaginary scale, it felt odd that I'd even feel bad about it. Even if it was a bit excessive, this was justifiable self-defense. The proof was all here. The two of them collapsed here in Mion's syringe. Mion's syringe filled with some unknown drug would certainly solve the mystery surrounding the incident with Tomitake-san. And from the fact that both of these two were involved, they'd be able to pick out the criminals one after the other. Still, I might be suspected for this, but that was just fine. Anyway, now this should be a police affair. This wouldn't fade into the darkness like Rena's past incidents. As long as the police were involved, that should bring this to a close. You thought they'll probably revisit this investigation on the chain of incidents. Tasty-san would definitely get to the bottom of it. Meaning my wish of not wanting to die, of wanting to know the truth, that would be fulfilled in its most basic form. It was all a matter of time now. The Dr. Rena called should be getting here soon. Oh. I'll confess everything to him. I needed to contact Tasty-san. Also, to those of you just joining, I'm calling him Tasty-san because his name is so close to Oishi, which means tasty, anyway.
Yeah.
At that moment, I remembered, besides the doctor, a director had been called. It was easy to imagine that they were someone deeply involved with the incidents, judging from Rena and Mion's conversation. I think I have a hunch who that is, but I'm not going to say anything.
Detective Delicious.
Detective Delicious. The ache in my chest, caused by the gruesome deed I'd done, dissipated rapidly. It was not over yet. This place was no longer safe. Stay calm, Keiichi Maibara. It's not over yet. I need to live long enough to tell the police of this incident. At that moment, I felt like I heard someone's voice from outside. Since people were speaking, it must mean there was more than one person. I moved the curtain ever so slightly and peered outside. It was a bizarre sight. About 4 or 5 grown men were all gathered at the gate. They very much resembled the 2 men who had assaulted me at the dam site today. Those 2 might even be among them. There was one person there wearing a white coat, but he didn't look like a doctor at all. My gut told me he was in disguise, only posing as a doctor. The guy would probably ring the bell and get me to open the front door. Pretend to be a doctor to get me to open the door, and then the rest of them would all rush in at once. Thank you. Thank you for the sus stirring among. At that moment, I saw the car parked behind the men, and my heart nearly skipped a beat. The white van. Oh, is the one that tried to hit him? Yeah. Oh, shit! No mistaking it. That van, the one that had tried to run me down. The man in the white coat entered the gate and headed towards the front door. The rest of the men hid in the bushes and watched him. That's suspicious. Probably couldn't pretend that I wasn't home. Undoubtedly, they'd just break the window and enter. I needed to get out of here somehow. Then use a public phone to contact Tasty-san. Then meet up somewhere. First of all, I need a weapon. Then shoes! Weapon and then shoes. But before all that, there was one thing I had to do. I had no intention of dying. I'd live and reveal the truth about this nonsensical curse of Oyashiro-sama. But what would happen from here on, regardless of how determined I was, may bring about my demise. And that was why. There was one thing more important than getting out of here right now. I need to get that clock out quickly and take down the note hidden behind it. Damn it. The tape was sticking to it fast. It'd be fine if it was torn a little. I opened up the slightly torn note and began writing another passage with the ballpoint pen. If I wasn't able to inform Tasty-san, then the only thing I could rely on was this note. I never thought a piece of torn, college-ruled notebook paper could be this reliable before. I had no time. I'd only write what I knew right now. I needed to leave some sort of information that would lead them to uncover the truth. Rena and Mion are conspirators of the perpetrators. That was an undeniable fact. I still didn't want to believe it, but it was a fact. Anyway, I'd leave all the information that would help lead them to finding the perpetrators. There are 4 or 5 adults, maybe more. They have a white van. This was everything I was able to see from the window. There may be more. Also, there was that unidentifiable person known as the director. To begin with, the term director didn't even mesh with Hinamizawa at all. If they were going to include the directors from the past incidents, then the only one in the construction is the construction foreman, the victim from the first murder. The very first victim in the chain of incidents. killed in a lynching, his body divided into 6 pieces. His right arm was never discovered. The police should have confirmed that death, but Rena and Mion did both call him director. They said director. They wouldn't use that term to refer to someone who was dead. The police could never even conceive that someone who was deceased could be involved. Could that be some sort of oversight? I didn't know. But even if I didn't know, it could be a big hint for Tasty-san. That's right. They needed to start fresh from the first incident. It wasn't just a simple dismemberment, but the start of the string of mysterious deaths that would follow. So then, there must be something hidden there. Please reinvestigate the victim from the dismemberment incident. He's alive. Oh. See you, Rove. Thank you again for the raid.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye! Please reinvestigate the victim. Blah, blah, blah. He's alive. His death should have been established after an autopsy. Logically, you would think as much. But was that really the case? Could it have been some sort of ploy that they were able to deceive the police with? I shouldn't jump to conclusions, but he may still be alive. I had no time to ponder that right now. Oh yeah, there's something even more important I need to write. Tomitake-san's death was from an unknown drug. That's right. That drug, it was an irreplaceable piece of evidence. No doubt, just having this, everything would be uncovered. I couldn't just leave that vital clue lying on the floor. This syringe is proof. Writing that down, I stuck the syringe onto the back of the clock with plenty of tape, so it absolutely would not slip out and fall to the floor firmly. Firmly! The bell rang. They were here. I couldn't write anymore, but even still, there was one last thing that I had to write. I have no idea why it has become like this. This may be the closest thing to the truth out of everything I wrote on this note. If you are reading this, then I am probably already dead, though you may or may not find my body. If I was going to write out everything that could happen, either dying from the curse or being demoned away, you who are reading this, please uncover the truth. That is my only desire. With this, my last will and testament was complete. It wasn't certain that I was going to die, but it was my final plea, just in case. I folded the note, stuck it back onto the back of the clock, and returned the clock back to its usual spot. I couldn't help but pray. Tasty-san, if something happens to me, I leave the rest to you. After that, I gazed down silently at Rena and Mion. This was probably the last time we'd ever see each other. Rena, Mion, I really had thought all of us were friends. But why did it end up like this? I never had any fun in my previous school. I only worried about standardized test scores, about if the school I hoped to get into was where I really wanted to go, or a safety net. That was all I talked about. It was a dull life. The people I called friends were also my rivals in studying and competitions and personal records and standardized test scores. Everyone here taught me how unhealthy that lifestyle was. This month was really fun. Making a fuss over lunch, making a fuss over the club, making a fuss over the festival. Something hot began dripping from my face. Uncontrollable. Tears. I should have had no obligation to shed tears for them. But they wouldn't stop. Even if they were after my life. Even if they were trying to kill me. Everything that happened this month, I wouldn't forget it. Or could it be those happy days were all a facade as well? Was it all a trap, meticulously orchestrated up until today to ensnare me? Could it have been that I had just arbitrarily assumed that they were my friends? That couldn't have been the case. That was definitely the case. Both Rena and Mion, they really were my friends. Those happy days. There was nothing fake or unclear about them. Someone probably forced them to try to kill me. Or their minds were taken over, possessed by the supernatural entity known as Oyashiro-sama. Regardless, both Rena and Mion, they were the best friends ever. And when they were coming after me, it wasn't of their own volition. But they weren't the kind of people to sell off their friends, no matter what means were employed to force them. And there was no way such a thing as being possessed by Oyashiro-sama could happen in reality. And did the real Rena and Mion come after me? What was I thinking? What a silly, dumb idea. Having beaten down both Rena and Mion, I was still debating if they were the real ones or fakes. There was no real or fake, only the reality that was before me. Rena and Mion were sprawled out at my feet. That was the only truth. I was only trying to twist the facts to my benefit, that I had beaten my friends to death. No matter how I spun it, it couldn't change reality. Rena and Mion were both dead. It felt like there was a crack in the dam of strange emotions I was holding back. It felt like my calm state, which was nothing more than a bluff, had receded, and in that opening, insanity was leaking out. I killed them. I killed them. Rena and Mion. I killed them! The reality sinks in. The doorbell rang again. The unrelenting echo pulled me back into a state of composure once again. I didn't have a moment to spare. Quickly, I needed to get away. I didn't want to die. I would uncover everything after that. The identity of whoever or whatever had pushed me this far. Even if I had to drink mud and eat grass, I would survive. I would survive. I would definitely survive. You got this, Keiichi.
And Robin V would definitely play TF2.
Stop judging my friends playing their video games.
Did I ever say I was judging?
You're judging them.
I'm not.
I'm just
I've played
kidding.
TF2 before.
Oh, I killed Rena for that very reason. For playing TF2. I also killed Mion for playing TF2. I went that far just to keep living. So I can't die. For my sake and for the sake of the late Rena and Mion, I have to survive. I ran towards the door and grabbed my shoes. The doorbell rang again, as if to urge me on. Behind the single solitary door, they were there. Get out of there. Keeping quiet, I headed towards the kitchen. Headed towards the back door. Before opening the back door, I put my ear to it and checked for people outside. No one? After I put on my shoes, I opened the door slowly so as to not make a sound.
He heard did. Not big surprise.
Not big surprise. God,
There he is! The back door!
There he is! Piercing voice echoed out. That voice stabbed through me, setting my hair on end. I had to run. Get out of here, Keiichi! One after the other, I felt stuff, like rationale and intelligence, those things you use when you have time to spare, spilt out of me. I didn't feel any pain from the branches scratching my arms and forehead. My autonomously pulsing heart also felt neither fatigue nor pain. My entire being just wished to live. There was nothing else it desired. It probably had no complaints whatsoever, so of course I wouldn't feel fatigue. I just ran. Just recklessly rushing in the direction I was already heading. Even if nobody was chasing me, I'd still be running like this. There wasn't a thought in my mind about where I was headed. Turning around, I felt a presence right next to me. That presence was, without a doubt, chasing me like my shadow. If I took even one misstep, I would be devoured. That's what I thought. So I didn't turn around. I didn't stop. I ran. At full speed. Run. Run, Keiichi.
Flee, K1.
Fly, you fools. That was the chirping of the Higurashi telling me it was evening. Trying to tell me something, and then I finally heard it. The wailing cry of the victims who didn't make it. Would I be joining them? Demon me away! Put me in demon realm. Only the Higurashi knew. They knew everything. They definitely knew. So I ran towards where I could hear more of the Higurashi's chirps. But the farther I ran, the farther away their chirping became. Now, I understand why they're saying Higurashi instead of cicadas. Because it's the title of the fucking series. But I feel like instead of hatchet, they could have used the actual word for that weapon, which is a Japanese word, if they're going to say Higurashi instead of cicada.
Man, translations are weird.
It's dumb. But the farther I ran,
Localizations are weird.
the farther away their chirping became. I couldn't get near them. Why are you all running away? Was it my fault? Was I the one to blame? Then I'll apologize. I'm sorry. 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 Oh, Yashiro-sama. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Felt that only the Higurashi knew. Oh. Oh no. Yay! I got an achievement.
Chased by shadows.
Yippee! What? K1 Cicada TF, front page of DA.
Listen,
Why didn't you
it's
say
your
it?
fault that I know what this is.
Why didn't you say this out loud?
Because you were talking and I didn't want to interrupt for that.
The
It wasn't
smoking,
worth it.
the smoking room was filled with a cloud of cigarette smoke. You know what this game is making me want to do? I want to just have people submit creepypastas to me and I just read them.
You know that 90% of them wouldn't be good.
That's fine. I like reading creepy shit. I just like reading things out loud. It's fun. And I don't know. Would anybody be interested in a stream where I just read creepy stories? Come on. Anyway. The expensive smoke filter gave off some crackling electric noise, but it didn't seem like it was doing anything at all. And I feel like part of the charm of me reading things out loud is how often I mispronounce things. Yes, 1000%? Awesome. Okay, cool. Maybe that can be a cool Halloween thing. Why do smokers have to be shoved so far down this corridor where the sun didn't even reach? I recalled hearing that the tax revenue from tobacco was about 1/10 of the municipality's revenue. Who is this right now? Is this Tasty? Or is this me? Is this Keiichi?
I can tell you that if you want me to, but
I mean, should I be reading this, or do you want to read it?
I can read it.
I finished this line, so if you want to read the
You
next
did.
line. Okay.
We were the most heavily taxed members of this municipality, so I really wish they'd show us a little more respect.
Oh, was I Kumagai? I don't remember.
I believe so.
Huh. Why would you discard the 5 Manzu there? It's just decreasing your options.
One of the younger detectives was having a staring contest with a mahjong magazine called Next Turn.
I'm gonna finish my coffee.
That's fine, I'm reading.
Yes. What are we talking about? A lot of creepy stories on the internet are just ableism. Yeah, that's a problem with horror in general. But,
It is.
But there are plenty of like creepypasta stories that are good and not ableism. So
It's not ableist to be spooked up by a ghost.
Ghost.
Ooh.
Yo. You're still on Tenpai if you cut the 5 Manzu. If you're betting on a Haite, then
Yeah.
shouldn't you be going into it with a mangan? Ugh.
Kuma-chan, look at the pond. They all discarded a 5 Manzu. It's a safe tile. You'd hate if, at endgame, someone was sitting on a tenpai in the last turn, wouldn't you?
I've been asked what my favorite creepypasta is.
What
And
is your favorite creepypasta?
I'm gonna be basic and say Ben Drowned. I actually really love Ben Drowned as a creepypasta.
If I have a favorite one, I was scared a lot by them as a kid, but none of them are really, like, very good stories. Like, some of them are, obviously. But
I think my favorite creepypastas are the ones that are shorter.
yeah,
Like, just
I can understand that.
bite-sized horror stories. Like, the one where they look through a keyhole in a hotel room, and every time they do, all they see is red, and then they find out that there was a ghost or something in that room with red eyes. I was like, whoa, that's scary. That's like the shortest way I could put that story. But anyway, let's continue. I keep getting sidetracked.
You're alright. The kid let out another groan, put out a cigarette, and then took another one.
I just don't agree. Why would you reduce your own options?
By the way, you can't call Ron with your winning tile in that Haite.
What? Why is that?
Just then I heard a voice coming from down the hall.
Oh, should I be the detective?
Yeah.
Are you here, Tasty-san? You have a call from a civilian.
Whoa, ain't that something? Well, see you soon.
My favorite short horror story is the one where they milk the creature. Thank you.
I think I know what you're talking about, but
That was just like a short-lived like horror meme. It was great. The eggnog creature. Why can't you call Ron on it? Hold on for a second, Tasty-san. The man sitting in the seat Tasty-san was heading towards waved at the telephone receiver.
you stole my narration.
My bad, I am so used to reading the narration.
It's okay.
Outside line, from a payphone.
Oh, I thank you. Sorry to keep you waiting. This is Oishi? Who is it?
Tasty-san, hello?
If it isn't my Abara-san. Why, good evening.
Do you...
From the tone, Mayabara-kun's voice, I already knew he was in a predicament. This was the first time Mayabara-kun had phoned me,
Okay, so it is
and he was calling
Oishi.
from a payphone. Please calm down. Did something happen?
Well.
His voice was erratic over the line. It completely lost his sense of composure. After checking that nobody else could hear, I prompted him in a hushed tone. What happened? Calm down, Mayabara-san. I can have the local officers head to your location. I'll be there soon, too.
I think that's impossible.
His voice was quivering and hoarse. He wasn't surrounded by people even as he was making this call, was he? Mayabara-san, you're calling from a payphone right now, right? Where is that payphone? There were no other sounds besides Mayabara-kun's voice. It had to be a phone booth. I scratched out a note and thrust it at my colleague sitting across from me. Hinamizawa phone booth. He understood quickly and hastily started on the internal lines. Calm down, Mayabara-san. What is your current situation? It was best practice to avoid flustering someone panicking, but this was an urgent case. Mayabara-kun didn't just get in trouble, get away, and then call me. He was in the midst of something dangerous right now. But yelling at Mayabara-kun right now would just needlessly cause him to be even more frantic. Mayabara-kun wasn't just calling to seek help. He was trying to tell us something more than that. And whatever that was, if I didn't get it from this call, I was certain there would never be another chance. My colleague pushed a note in front of me. There's only one booth in Hinamizawa. A patrol car is on the way. 5 minutes. That's too long! How many officers are in there?
2.
Not enough. If it was as I imagined, there were quite likely a few people surrounding Mayabara-kun. 5 minutes is too long. Did you call the officer station in Hinamizawa?
He's scheduled to be on patrol. They're currently out and it will be impossible to contact them.
God damn! Kuma-chan, bring the car around.
Remember the time before cell phones.
Crazy, right?
Crazy. Understood. Hello? Tasty-san?
Hello? It's all right. I can hear you loud and clear. There was something wrong with my Abara-kun. That wasn't a normal coughing sound. Vomiting? Or was it blood? Had he already been attacked? Was he injured? My Abara-san, the police are on their way. They'll be there in a couple of minutes, so hold on somehow. Hello? Can you hear me? My Abara-san! I could hear on the other end of the line that he was having a coughing fit.
Oh.
The worst possible situation popped into my head. My Abara-san. Who's the culprit? How many are there?
I thought at first the culprit was human.
I couldn't tell if that was a cough or vomiting. Are you alright, my Abara-san?
I thought that the culprit was a person and not Oyashiro-sama's curse up until right now. But I guess in the end...
It was an intense bout of coughing. then vomiting.
Blech. But I guess Oyashiro-sama does exist. No, he's here.
Mayabara-san, please, just calm down.
I had been thinking it was strange for a while now. It's been following me this whole time. I run and run and run and run, but it just sticks to me like my shadow. But slowly, so slowly, it's digging itself into my back.
Mayabara-san, are they right now? Perhaps right behind you.
Behind me. Right behind me.
Please, Mayabara-san. I can tell you're scared. But please. Who is it that's right behind you?
I can't just look behind me. If I do, I'll...
I understand that you're scared. But please tell me. You just need to turn around a bit. Who is it? Who's behind you, Mayabara-san? Right after I said that, I could hear him vomiting intensely. What followed was a nightmarish sound. Mayabara-san, it couldn't be that you're clawing out your own throat.
Mm-hmm.
There was no answer, but I could hear something like scratching.
And then Sasha
There was a
starts
bang.
scratching at the door.
As if something was being hit. Mayabara-kun had probably dropped the receiver. I could hear groaning and vomiting over on the other end, and a repeating, abnormal noise. Hello? Hello? Mayabara-san? Hello? I knew how far away my voice would sound on the other end, but I couldn't help but shout. At that moment, I heard whispering coming from the other end. I couldn't tell what he was saying. From the way he was saying it, it was like he was talking to himself. Or was he talking to someone there? Hello? Mayabara-san? Rather than whispering, it was some kind of mantra he was chanting over and over. I focused my senses, trying to pick up what he was saying. What was he repeating? What exactly?
Sumimasen. No. How do they say sorry in the anime? Like when...
Gomenasai.
Gomenasai. Sumimasen is like, excuse me. Ah. Ah, Apple. That was
Morty.
perfectly timed.
Mortis. Suddenly the line went dead. Did he use up his time? It was because it was a payphone. It was because it cut out so abruptly. The last thing he said came out so clearly in my mind.
Tasty-san, the car is good to go! Tasty-san.
It was... I'm sorry.
Tasty-san?
That's what he was repeating. Over and over. He said, I'm sorry.
Gomennasai.
I had a gut feeling. There was no longer a need to hurry. I could hear the chirp of the Higurashi spilling in from the open window. I should have been able to hear them this entire time. I just wasn't paying any attention. Why did I focus on them all of a sudden? Were they trying to tell me something? Only the Higurashi knew.
Also, hey, Vinyl.
That's how I felt.
Breaking up the tense moment. Being like, hey guys. Hey, Vinyl. What's up? Hello. Okay, I could start narrating again.
Yes, please.
Alright,
This
I
voice
know
hurt.
the voice hurts you. It's really cool when stories like switch the narrator because the narrator is getting fucked.
Yeah.
June
Very cool.
1983. In Hinamizawa, a remote village near Shishibone City, there was a murder involving 2 female students. The suspect is Keiichi Maibara, age... What? We don't
He's
know.
anywhere from 14 to 16.
Anywhere from 14 to 16. I don't know what that accent was. The suspect
Cockney.
The suspect called over his 2 female classmates, Rena Ryugu and Mion Sonozaki, to his house and beat them to death with a metal bat. The scene of the crime was the suspect's room on the 2nd floor of his house. The inside of the room was covered with a significant quantity of splattered blood, and there were signs of a struggle with the victims. In addition to the scene of the crime, the entryway, living room, and kitchen all had traces of a struggle. At the entryway, the shoe rack and wall had evidence of being impacted by a strong blunt force. It is believed to have been the same bat as the murder weapon. Having no traces of blood, it is believed the destruction occurred before the murders. There is the possibility that the suspect overpowered his victims to keep them from fleeing. In the living room, the rug had been pulled back, then thrown aside. It is hard to believe that this has a connection to the struggle with the victims, and thus the reason for this remains unknown. I don't remember why he did that.
We didn't see him do that.
Ah! In the kitchen.
Regardless of whether that's Keiichi being an unreliable narrator or not, he didn't mention to us as the audience that he did anything to the rug.
In the kitchen, the garbage bag was torn apart, and its contents were spread out on the floor. Who is messaging me? And why?
It's Oishi-san. Mayabara-san, are you there?
Nah, it was Case sending me a picture of Bastet.
No, I think it was Tasty-san reaching through to the future to contact her on Discord.
Yeah. In the kitchen, the garbage bag was torn apart and its contents were spread out on the floor. Garbage was strewn about in the surrounding area, and handprints believed to belong to the suspect were discovered. It is believed that the suspect had, for some reason, taken out the garbage and struck it with his fists. The reason for this remains unknown. Okay, he was looking for the needle there. In addition, there was a note stuck to the fridge. The words, "Was there a needle?" were written on it. Yep, I remember that. The meaning behind this remains unclear. Just in case, the garbage was searched, but a needle was not discovered. Though the garage door was functional, it had been left open ever since the suspect moved in. The garage door was found closed. The suspect's fingerprints were discovered on the garage door. The reason behind this remains unknown. He didn't want people to think his parents weren't there or something. The suspect fled the scene of the crime. However, a patrolling officer, Hinamizawa local PD, found the suspect collapsed inside a phone booth. At the time of discovery, the suspect was unconscious in critical condition. He was rushed to the local hospital for treatment, but did not regain the consciousness and died 24 hours later. The results of the autopsy indicate the immediate cause of death to have been hypovolemic shock. It was determined that the suspect had clawed at his own throat with his fingernails, and the resulting bleeding caused his death. With the similarity to the death of Tomitake-san the prior week, the police believe there to be a connection and have opened an investigation. However,
for those who aren't aware, hypovolemic shock, it basically amounts to blood loss.
Yeah. However, due to the wishes of the local authorities, it will be a confidential investigation. Due to the abnormal nature of the death, it was suspected that drugs were involved, but as with Tomitake-san, no traces were discovered. What prompted all this remains inexplicable. As such, this case is being treated as an act committed on impulse. However, with several accounts of the suspect's bizarre behavior leading up to the incident, it is possible that this was premeditated. Separated from his group of friends, isolation, inexplicable behavior. Several days before the incident, the suspect began carrying around a metal bat. The suspect was observed displaying aggressive behavior as well as talking to himself at school. His classmates have already heard portions of what he was saying. Have actually heard. 2 days before the incident, the suspect declared to his parents the possibility of his death. Due to these circumstances, the police have begun an investigation on the possibility that this crime was not committed on impulse, but was instead planned several days in advance. Afterwards, a note was found in the suspect's room that he had written himself. The note was written on 2 sheets from a B5 college-ruled notebook that had each been torn in half. As if trying to conceal it, it was stuck hidden behind a clock on the wall. The contents are as written in the appendix. The police believe it to be strongly related to the incident. The police changed their line of investigation based on the possibility that the suspect was involved in some sort of incident himself. However, I wanted to know what the note said, but I already knew. Anyway. However, no further clues were found, casting doubt on the credibility of the note. Was the crime impulsive or premeditated? With the situation unclear and no further developments, the case has been labeled as unresolved. However, the following year, suspicion arose regarding the nature of the note. The note was not written on 2 halves of B5 paper from 2 separate sheets, but was originally a single sheet of B5 paper. In order to erase several lines from the middle, someone had torn them out. Judging from the size of the letters, the missing section is estimated to be 2 to 3 lines. It is highly probable that the person who eliminated the lines in question is not the suspect. In addition, judging from traces of large quantities of cellophane tape being stuck to the back of the clock, speculation that something other than the note was stuck there has arisen. The person who first discovered the crime was a detective rumored to have a connection with the incidents. Curaldo?
Yeah.
Curaldo! Strifo. No.
You all right there?
His name is Cloud.
It is.
His name is Cloud. Delicious Cloud. He underwent voluntary questioning but denies involvement in any damages to the note. Delicious. The suspect's note. I, Keiichi Maibara, am in fear for my life. I do not know why they are after my life. The only thing I do know is that it has to do with Oyashiro-sama's curse. Rena and Mion are conspirate. I don't know how to say that. I don't know why I'm having a difficult time saying conspirators. Conspirators of the perpetrators. Conspirators. Okay, cool. Hello, Homunk. There are 4 or 5 adults, maybe more. They have a white van. This is all on the first sheet. The section below this has been ripped out. This is from the second sheet. The section above this has been ripped out. I have no idea why it has become like this. If you're reading this, then I am probably already dead. Though you may or may not find my body. Thank you for the follow. You who are reading this, please uncover the truth. That is my only desire. Keiichi Maibara. That's it!
Higurashi when they cry.
We fucking died! Yippee!
Wahoo!
Woohoo! Yippee!
All cast review session has become available. To play it, select extra on the title menu and then pick the all cast review session.
What does that mean? Well, we did it.
We did.
Did Keiichi rip the sheet or is this new info? That's new info. Somebody took the syringe that Mion had. Like, because he taped the syringe to the back of the clock as evidence. So somebody took that and clearly injected him with it. Because that was, like, their entire intention was to inject him with that so he could do what Tomitake-san did, which was claw his own throat out. And so he ended up doing that. That was information I failed to catch you up on, Sketch. Tomitake-san, our hunk of a man photographer dude, ended up clawing his own throat out. And there was no drug detected when there was a drug test, like a blood test done, but it was an unknown drug, clearly. There are 8 chapters, separate games.
Yep.
Nah, that was the end of chapter 1, which was about 10-12 hours. That was fucking wild. That was a wild ride.
And for those curious, we did talk about it. We do in the future plan to do the other ones on stream.
Yeah, like, because people were asking if we were planning on doing the other chapters, and since I really liked this is fucked up. I do want to see more of it. So probably
Sorry, go on.
So I was gonna say, we're probably gonna catch up on other games that I have been gifted and I've been putting off. I definitely need to play at least a stream of Subnautica. And Taryn and I were planning on playing Obscure 2, actually starting next week. So that's gonna suck. But those were donation incentives, and we made those. So I have to do those. Those are my priorities right now. And then after that, there's a few games that are in my queue that have been gifted to me. One of them being the Stanley Parable, because Apple gifted that to me a while ago. Soma, Alan Wake. There were a few games that Alt F4 in the chat gifted to me recently. Like I'm on Observation Duty was one of them, and then another one, I forget what it was called. It was something about a house. But yes. Obscure Woo. But
Kanaraz asks, will you keep the VOD? All of the VODs, as far as I'm aware, stay on Twitch, but a week after they're posted, I think it is, they go up on YouTube.
not a week after they're posted.
Is it not a week after?
No. I posted
Am I having
like a
weird
couple
time
days.
dilation?
Yeah. Yeah, on Monday this will be going up on YouTube. I will definitely be posting it up on YouTube. Yeah, I know nothing about Alan Wake. I'm gonna be real. I didn't even know it existed until recently.
All I know about Alan Wake is that it's in the Control universe.
Is it really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I also got Control gifted, but I don't know if I will stream that because I don't think it's a horror game. I've wanted to play it for a while though. Is Control a horror game?
Well, more so Control is in the Alan Wake universe because Alan Wake came first.
Oh. This stream has motivated me to play through all the chapters. Awesome.
You should do it, but don't spoil us.
Yeah, don't spoil. Obviously, like don't spoil me because I don't know shit other than what I know from this game. And no, this was a treat. I don't know.
You also have the extra chapter to get through.
Extra chapter
that we just unlocked. Yeah, it's not very long. It's in the extras.
Oh, let's go. More. This one?
The all cast review session.
Oh boy. Rena!
Thank you for buying Higurashi When They Cry Onikakushi, a visual novel by 7th expansion.
I didn't buy it. It was free.
We didn't pirate it, by the way. We're not pirating from an indie creator.
No,
it's
it
free on
was
Steam.
free.
How was it? If you enjoyed it even a little bit, it would make me happy.
I did enjoy it, Rena. Oh, Satoko, I haven't seen you in 10,000
Even a
years.
little bit is stretching it. That incredibly dark ending made me angry, you know?
Made us angry.
This Onikakushi chapter is the first story that readers challenging the mystery of the entire series get to experience. So it's actually supposed to be somewhat of a prologue.
No.
How could the prologue have such an incredibly dark ending?
Yeah, but doesn't that happen sometimes? The player digging through the story in order to avoid a bad ending is the point of these types of games after all. It's still just the first chapter. I'm looking forward to the next one. What happens in the next chapter? Rena, do you know?
Chapter will introduce another aspect of the story. That's a strange way of putting it. What does that mean? In this chapter, they introduced a string of mysterious deaths that were happening in Hinamizawa recently, right? The next chapter will introduce some of the history of Hinamizawa.
With one strange event happening after another, I got totally lost. What exactly is Oyashiro-sama's curse about? Actually, what is Oyashiro-sama to begin with? They didn't explain it much.
I haven't heard much about it, but I have a kind of bad feeling about it.
It feels like it'll be another one of those scary stories where somebody gets cursed again. Tough luck for Kei-chan. What kind of curse is he gonna get hit with this time? He's dead.
However, I am looking forward to seeing what kind of story it's going to be.
Hey.
Sorry for being late. My bad.
Oh my god, it's like all of your characters.
Hey, everybody. Good work today.
Same to you. Huh? Where's Kei-chan?
Keiji-kun is already off reading the script for the next chapter. I love the framing of this. Like, they're all actors on a stage. It must be hard being the main character.
Huh? That's too bad. He could have at least poked in to say hello.
It's probably because he doesn't have any character art, so he couldn't poke his head in, even if he wanted to.
Rika-san, that's what we refer to as a personal problem.
That's funny.
In any case, that story really was a lot of trouble, especially for Keiichi-kun and Rena-chan. Trouble? The mother of all bad ends!
I wonder, what was the identity of the thing that attacked Keiichi-kun?
My theory is that it was the work of people to make it look like a curse.
But Keiichi made this mysterious phone call at his demise. Yeah, I also thought that call was strange. At that point, Kei-chan should have been certain that the culprits were people.
Strange phone call. It almost sounded like he was being chased by a ghost or something. Just from that phone call, it really makes me think that it was the work of a curse after all.
Since we're all here, why don't we share our theories? Let's start with Sonozaki-san.
I absolutely believe it was people. I think it was a man-made incident that was just imitating the strange folklore floating around Hinamizawa.
Really? Every year on the day of the festival, for another link in the chain of mysterious deaths to happen certainly is suspicious.
That so-called chain of mysterious deaths, it has to be somebody trying to reenact the folklore. Definitely. Oh.
Looking at the scene where Kei-chan went berserk in the entryway, or panicking at the disco, and the last scene with the phone call, those cannot be explained with a human culprit. When you say it that way, it really wasn't the type of scene that would make you think it was the work of an actual person.
Drugs!
Yeah, but even then, I still think it was a person who did it.
Drugs!
The last scene and the one with the entryway, I think that the stress must have driven him to paranoid delusions.
You aren't helping me to understand by using such complicated words!
In other words, Keiichi was so scared that he was imagining things.
Then, oh, what was the meaning behind that scene? What exactly was that mysterious presence behind Keiichi?
Paranoia. A red herring. Red herring!
Michan, what do you mean by a red herring?
Like old man Tomitake here said, the scene was the result of Kei-chan having a stress-induced delusion from being mentally cornered.
I'm only 30.
The overly graphic depiction was a ploy to make the player think it was a curse. That's why it was a red herring.
When you say it like that, but...
Well, it just means that there's that possibility.
In that case, the theory that Oishi-san proposed during the story that it was a conspiracy by the villagers was correct? What does the man himself have to say about that?
Me? It makes you think, huh? Huh? I totally thought that Oishi-san would be behind the people explanation. During the story, I said it was definitely the work of people. But if a person really was to blame, that leaves a lot of loose ends.
Like what? Let us hear what Detective Oishi-san's theory is.
First of all, if a human is the culprit, then there has to be a motive. In other words, somebody has to gain something from it.
So what you mean is, if this was the work of people, there would have to be something gained from causing the chain of mysterious deaths?
Exactly. I felt that somebody could have benefited from the deaths of people related to the dam development, but the recent victims weren't all that related to it at all. First off, who benefits from killing my Abara-san?
Me.
I see. If you say it like that, my case is kind of weak too.
I mean, none of your money was stolen. There's no way it was human culprits. But that's not everything there is to it, right? Like Michan just said, there might have been some sort of reason for them to reenact the folklore.
Exactly. This wasn't a murder where you consider the typical motives. It makes me think that there was most likely some sort of ritualistic murder to reenact the blood-stained history of the village. So I'll ask the question of the hour, who gains from this reenactment?
It's not about simple benefit. It's more of a psychological reason. I think that maybe this was an act of revenge, something native to the region. Some connection not touched on this time around. I see. A member of some repressed family looking to air out an old grudge of their ancestors. Something like that. I don't like that.
Then what is it? It couldn't be that you're leaning towards the curse explanation, oh Ishii-san.
Right, that's right. The man playing the detective said so. It's decided. It was a curse.
If as Mayabara-san said during the story, it was the case that Oyashiro-sama possessed Ryuga-san and Sonozaki-san and committed those acts. That would fit the evidence the most, as much as I hate to say it.
Actually, I'm of the same opinion as Oishi-san. I can't come up with any other explanation for the normally kind Rena and Michan to suddenly start acting strange like that.
About that, it may sound strange coming from the person herself, but I think that Mion did it. I don't get what Mi is saying. I'd like an explanation. Oh, sorry. In other words, I think this may end up being a really cruel story. Me too.
Wait, Michan? You don't mean...
Taking the human culprit theory to its logical conclusion, that's how it would seem. I also have my suspicions. In other words, Ryuga-san and Sonozaki-san both actually had those personalities to begin with and were merely deceiving Mayabara-san.
12 by them.
Thank you, Z. I appreciate the year of subscribing.
Long ass time.
Also, Z, would you like to name a scrungle? Since you have resubscribed. You can name an animal on my scrungle farm.
At all.
Wah.
Ah,
Wah.
this is all the curse's fault. Rena-san and Mion-san and everybody else are all nice, kind people. I think that too. I think that Rena and Mion-chan are really good people at heart.
I'm gonna name an animal George. I'm gonna write it down. George. We got 3 animals. Got 3 animals so far.
I think that during the story they must have been possessed or something. Or by something even.
By something. So Rena also thinks it was a curse. Then let me ask everybody who thinks it was a curse. There has to be a reason for a curse, right? It doesn't make sense for a curse to just indiscriminately befall someone. Can somebody explain that?
A curse is a curse! Human logic won't get us anywhere. Satoko-chan. A personified deity is, in the end, nothing more than the creation of people. That's why their method of thinking is also understandable to humans. Just take a look at the Greek pantheon. They cry, get angry, get jealous. Basically, they're just like humans.
So what you're saying is that Oyashiro-sama is cursing people with some benefit in mind?
That's an odd way of putting it, but basically, yes.
Basically.
That's why they say, far from Jupiter, far from his thunder. You do have a point.
Basically, it doesn't matter if it's Oyashiro-sama or humans. There has to be a reason.
But Rika, what if that reason isn't clear?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's right. This is still just the prologue. There's still a lot of stuff that hasn't been revealed yet.
Yeah, it's hard to come up with any more theories at this point.
No! I won't be satisfied until this is all made clear.
Mion-san seems rather particular about this.
We'll just make the best with what we know. Doesn't this feel interesting, like the club a little bit? Rena, you're being blocked.
If you put it that way, it does seem interesting. I'm just gonna grab your shoulder.
Oh,
Well,
penis
then, let's
music.
summarize.
Penis music
Let's-
returns. Sorry.
I think it was a curse. Tomatake-kun thinks it was people, right? Yeah. I'll go with it being people.
I also agree with the people explanation. That's not to say I hate such fantastic things like curses, but in this particular case, the connection to a curse is a little weak.
2 for the people explanation, then. Ryugu-san was on the curse side of things, right?
Yep. Satoko-chan and I believe it was a curse. Right?
Yeah! I think it was a curse. People who say that Rena-san and Mion-san were evil to begin with are more befitting of a curse.
Well, I don't want to believe that my own personality was that twisted, but I have to keep a cool head when I'm in club mode. If I base my choice on just emotion, I'll regret it, you know?
Well, now. It doesn't really matter which side you pick, does it?
Huh? Riku-chan hasn't said anything yet. What do you think?
I don't think that Oyashiro-sama is a bad god.
Huh, that's an interesting opinion.
I don't want to worship some bad god that just curses people. I'd like a generous god more than one that curses. I don't want my god to say fuck. Right. Sorry.
Right, Rika-chan is the Shrine Maiden. Yep, good opinion.
Then what? If Rika-chan doesn't believe that it was Oyashiro-sama, then do you think the perpetrators were human after all? We'll just go with that. Smile.
Well, now. That means the votes are split down right in the middle. That wasn't what I said at all. So half of us think it was a curse, and half of us think it was people. Rena-chan, just for reference. What did the test players who played the beta version think?
Oh my god.
Yeah, there were a lot more players who believed in the people explanation.
See? See right there. Our veteran comrades are cool, collected, and very observant. But the beta version only finished partway through the story.
That's right. Even the people who played the beta might change their minds if they got through to the very end.
What should we do then? This means that the opinions are still split. It's no fun if we don't settle this.
Well, we need there to be an odd number of judges, in other words. We need one more opinion.
Mine.
Perfect timing then. Why don't we ask Keiichi-kun himself? Let's call him.
The opinion of the victim himself is very valuable.
Since that's decided, it's time for the phone.
Eating Rena's hand. Nom, 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 nom.
Hello, Keiichi-kun. Moshi Moshi, it's Rena. Are
Moshi
you busy
Moshi.
with work right now?
Yeah, really busy. Just when I thought I'd get a break because the chapter's over, it's already time for the next one. How's Kei-chan? Busy?
Yeah. He's moping.
I can hear you, you know. It must be nice having a wrap-up party. I wanted to go too, but I don't have a fucking Sprite. You can come if you get some character art first.
Come correct or get corrected, bitch.
Ugh.
Rika, that's a secret.
No, JM thought that that phone was the actual, like, phone ringing.
Oops. Sorry about that, Keiichi-kun. Anyways, during the current chapter, Keiichi-kun, didn't you tie? We were just talking about who the culprit might be. I used the wrong voice for Rena there.
Basically, we're deadlocked on whether it was people or Oyashiro-sama's curse that killed you.
I'm really sorry. Even though you're busy reviewing the script, Keiichi-kun, who do you think it was?
That's obvious, isn't it?
Which?
Isn't it both of them? Targeted by suspicious people from the village and then cursed by some strange Oyashiro-sama on top of that. It's both humans and a curse. Everybody's just picking on me. So very, very pitiful. Next time, I'll give you a good patting on the head. Interrupted the penis music.
In the end, the opinion's still split, huh? I'll think this over again. We might have missed something.
Hang on, I want to run a poll.
People are cursed.
Yeah.
Nice.
Who do you think killed Keiichi? People? Stop.
You know,
Both.
my fucking spoons haven't increased the entire stream.
That's weird. I wonder if they've changed how you get spoons.
Maybe. It's not like I haven't been talking. I've, like, said a few messages in chat.
That's so strange. She's not supposed
What?
to be there. Sorry.
Please look forward to the next release, Higurashi When They Cry, Watanagashi.
Watanagashi! Alright, guys, there's a poll.
Woo!
There's a poll. I probably should have made it shorter. Who do you think?
I'm not gonna vote, because I know what the answer is.
They actually tell you the answer. I'm kind of sad about that. I like things being like a mystery.
I mean, it's still a mystery. To you.
To me, she got whacked to death with a baseball bat. Yeah, no, that was just like a wrap-up party. Like, what did you think of the game, you guys? What did you think of the game? So, my theory, I think it's people, because personally, I think that's scarier. For me personally, it being just, oh, it's a curse. There's a demon realm or some shit. I mean, there might be. That'd be cool, I guess, if that was a thing. But I like the idea of it just being people, like, trying to keep up with this, like, quote-unquote curse. Yeah, I'm winning. I won the game. I beat it. But,
You won Higurashi.
I won Higurashi. But also, like, I don't know. I'm thinking this is a stupid thing to bring up, but the fucking the anime Black Butler, which was shit. I hated it. There was one episode I was really excited about because the entire thing was like, oh, there's a giant wolf and it's terrorizing the villagers and there's all this evidence, blah blah blah. And CL and Sebastian end up being like, no, look, this is how they are pulling this off. Here's a projector that they're using to project a giant wolf silhouette, and it's making you guys think there's a giant wolf. And
Scooby-Doo shit.
Say what?
That's some Scooby-Doo shit.
Yeah, basically, it was like a Scooby-Doo shit, and I thought that was really cool how they like were just like, okay, see, this was just people fucking with you guys to make you think there's a giant wolf, and then it turns out. And then things turn on their head, and then it turns out, no, there actually was a giant wolf. And I was like, I'm fucking pissed. I think it's so much scarier when it's just people trying to fuck with you. You know? You know?
Yeah, I get you.
That show sucked. Anyway, don't watch Black Butler. It's shit.
I've watched some of it, not all of it. I think I watched like a season.
Yeah.
And I liked Grell. That's
Grell
my
was fun.
takeaway.
Listen, there were high points in the season 1 that I watched, because I only watched season 1 as well. Apparently shit goes real downhill in season 2. Why is the music so quiet? I'm gonna turn it up a little bit. So fucking, I don't know why I'm talking about Black Butler so much, but I don't know, Cal, if you needed to go, I was gonna farm. If you want
Too soon, but not immediately.
Yeah, I have to get 3 animals because there were 3 donations or 2 donations, 1 resub. So, as long
I'm
as
at least gonna wait until the end of this poll.
Oh, do that. Yeah. But I had a great time. And maybe in the future we will do more Higurashi, because people seem to really like it, so.
And we really like it.
I really like it too, yeah. It was fucking awesome. There's that whole Jack the Ripper arc, which was pretty cool in Black Butler, but also it was like weird and like super anti-abortion.
Oh.
I don't know if you remember it. It was
I don't. I remember fucking jack shit about Black Butler. There are like 4 things I remember. I remember Grell, and I remember having like gender feelings about them. I remember Alois Trancy. I don't remember anything about him. I just remember that he was a bitch. I remember
I didn't
the
get
fucking
to that.
what the
part.
carriage looks like. And I remember what the garden looks like. And I remember what the garden looks like because it looks fucking identical to what the garden looks like in Umineko.
Oh my god. Hang on, I'm off screen, so my model probably looks fucked. Right.
Alright, so people won. With
People
30
won.
fucking votes.
Nice.
Only one person voted for Yoshida-sama's curse.
God damn.
Who was it? Who are you?
Who are you?
And then 16 people voted for both.
How the fuck does one connect Jack the Ripper and abortion? I'm gonna spoil Black Butler for you. So it turned out Jack the Ripper was two people. One of them was Madam Red. Also, I'm gonna change the stream info to farm game. Oh. Madam Red. And Grell, who was a Grim Reaper with a chainsaw, and Grell was great. And also I'm gonna change the title of the stream, and then I will continue my explanation.
Grell was by far the best part of that show.
Yeah. Horror game aftercare farming. Alright, cool. Music is getting a little too loud. Let me turn it down a little bit. But, so, Madam Red, was a doctor. Something happened with her uterus. She could not give birth. It was like she was upset about it. And she had to perform abortions on a lot of women, and it made her resentful, and then she ended up killing all of them. That's Jack the Ripper. And that was that arc. Black Butler is a fucking stupid show.
Alright, everybody.
Thank
you for
heading out.
joining us for Higurashi When They Cry. I am gonna head out.
Alright, have a good night, Cal. Thank you for joining me, and I am excited to play more with you in the
Yes.
future. So long.
For next chapter, what do you think's gonna happen? How do you think we can progress from here?
I have no idea, because Rena and Mion and Keiichi are all dead.
They are.
So it's either gonna be like a flashback, or there's gonna be some fuckery.
So some fuckaroos.
There's gonna be some fuckaroo.
Well, you'll all just have to tune in to Higurashi When They Cry, episode 2, Watanagashi.
Mhm.
And they did say in that after party that it's gonna be more so about the history of Hinamizawa.
I'm very excited about that in particular.
I am too, because if there's one thing I love in a series, it's fucking world building. Yes!
Yeah.
Alright. I'm Zombie Keiichi. You joke! You joke, but that's an OVA arc.
Oh my god.
That's an OVA arc in the anime. It's called Higurashi Outbreak. It's not canon.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
Alright,
Have a good night.
everybody, bye. Bye.
Goodbye.
Ooh.
Oh, he's gone. Hey everybody, it's just me and the Scrungle farm. And we can just water our plants and shit. How has my model been looking, by the way? It has recently been updated. So I had to update like a few things with the tracking and stuff. So if the tracking hasn't been as good as it normally is, I may need to adjust some settings. The Scrungle Bungle. Yeah, I may have to adjust the Water the foyer and the Ruckus. Yeah, I have to, Ruckus was gonna be the horse, which I forget what day we get the horse, but I can also buy another aminal. And that'll be exciting. But after I water my plants, because I should do that first. It is hot, and I gotta do that. If there's more penis music sections, you will skip the bits. You know, that's fair. We were doing that for stream purposes because I didn't want to voice act the penis music bits. And also, that shit uncomfortable. Anime doing weird anime bullshit stuff. Model looks great? Okay, good. Glad to hear it. It looks like the movement is really good. I mean, the lip syncing, not so much. I may adjust the settings after stream. But... oh, is this Lone Survivor music? Oh wait, hang on. Hang on. YouTube, I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop the VOD. This is the only bit of farming you're gonna see. Goodbye!